He has a good heart and decent morals, but he's otherwise like a terrible person.
You know what? Can we talk about that? Because listen, I'm about to start the show in a second, but like
we can't talk about your entire life, Logan. Like, no. I mean, I guess we should because it's your podcast.
I feel like,
but that's a long ass.
He's that song where it's like, it's all.
I don't even have the full history. I just met you in college, bro. What you want from me? I'm not your therapist.
I feel like I'm not your therapist. I keep telling people, them that I'm a horrible person, and people just don't fucking believe me. I don't know why.
Because you're not actually a horrible person, but like. You do and say horrible things. Mitch. You don't even say horrible things. You say things in horrible ways.
Mitch.
Yes. Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm garbage.
He may be gold, glittery garbage, but he's still garbage.
Okay. Either way, we don't have the time to discuss that. Anyway, we can't. How the hell do we have the time to discuss why you
actually just tuning in? If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Logan. And this is the Milk and Toast podcast. I'm here with two of my best friends. Say hi to the people, Mitch.
This is why I go first, remember? What is this? Why is it going so long? Logan's so tired.
Say hi to the people, Claire.
Hello. How are we?
And this is the Milk and Toast podcast. Is everybody feeling centered today?
No.
Yes.
Do I ever?
Yes. Some of that was real too. Some of that I was trying to remember seed sounds for chakras in your body. Oh, do you know some of those? That's cool.
Yeah, because my mom.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to have that connection.
Claire has like this type of life where she's just like surrounded by the most talented people. Like she's just like,
and I like. Don't get me wrong. I'm the laziest piece of shit. Like I'm nothing. Like I'm no one. Like
why
I ain't
you both talking about yourselves like that? Jesus, but it's okay.
I mean, we speak the truth, bro.
You speak what you feel. I don't know about truth. I don't think you're trash.
Don't you take my truth? No, I'm gold glittery trash. Me and Logan just sort of sitting there, sort of separated from all the black, gross garbage trash, and we're all gold and glittery on the sidewalk. Like,
I'm sorry, hold on. Why is it got to be black?
Only like this far.
Because trash
garbage
comes in black bags.
Mitchell, don't even start with me.
Claire, you're right. I really do defend you a lot. I'd be like, get away from my fucking Claire.
He gets really defensive of me. And I can take it on myself, but I'm also so small. Mad. Like,
don't touch my Claire.
Everyone, everywhere, beware. Don't touch Logan's Claire. Everyone, everywhere. Don't touch Logan's Claire. Everyone, everywhere. Don't touch Logan's Claire.
Hey.
Don't touch Logan's Claire. Don't touch Logan's Claire. Don't touch Logan's Claire.
I'm not enjoying the possessive pronouns, but it's chill. It's chill.
Yeah. And that was Don't Touch Logan's Claire by Mitch, the super sassy rich. All right. Next up is like the radio broke down. You know, the station just broke down for no reason.
I think I'm gonna add that in.
Let me know how it sounded because I was feeling on point. I don't know. I was feeling perfect 80s.
You know when you're feeling yourself, but it just ain't it. Like,
hey, I don't know if it ain't it yet. Damn, don't get there yet.
True.
Oh shit! You know what I was gonna do last time that I didn't do this time? I was going to say all the stuff that I usually say in the end, I'm going to say in the beginning. Because,
Yeah, you said you want to do that. Do that shit.
No, we are going to do that because, first of all, we have fans, you know, not a whole lot, but we do.
Run it up.
Yeah, run up those numbers, right? I guess. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook at the Milk and Toast Podcast. If you love us, like us. If you hate us, share us. What else we got, Claire? You know, Claire, I'm gonna make you do this, Claire, because I'm so bad at it. And like Claire remembers things.
I mean, I'd be better at it.
I don't remember things.
I mean, to be honest, a chimp straight out the zoo and trained would probably be better. No, I'm kidding.
It's true.
Basically, in all our
No. Damn it! He's turned my weapon against me.
This is Orkies.
I'm kind of invincible that way. That's true. You're right.
Yeah, Logan's quick like that.
No, guys, definitely watch us on YouTube and shit. We're not on YouTube, but like the thing wiggles, so you can watch it and like put it in the background. Yeah, so it's like, you know,
they're a bunch of 5-year-olds.
Yo, I'm glad I was the one that giggled at that, Claire. It was just the word wiggle that I'm like, that's a normal word, but I'm like, why? I hear wiggle, and I hear wiggle, I'm just like.
I'm with a totally mature podcast. I love it.
Of course, absolutely. This is how we get down.
I never said I was mature, but okay.
So,
well, that's just a new thing we're doing now. So I don't have to do that at the end.
We're being mature now.
Yeah. No, I meant the intro.
Rated M for mature.
Anyways,
let's die.
Listen, just subscribe and like and whatever. You know, I hate self-promotion. Whatever.
Yeah, I know, because it always feels so horrible. I don't know why.
It feels bad. And you know why?
We have a link tree in all our bios. All of the bios.
Yeah. Just they have to go to our pages first. That's
there is one on the Milk and Toast page.
There's one on all the pages. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
also follow us on Twitter. We have like 3 followers on Twitter, and it's
to be fair
out here.
To be fair, I don't post on the Twitter like I should, so you don't really have to follow us on there. But you should.
No, you should. Don't listen to self-deprecating Logan. Follow us everywhere for sound bites, for updates. You know, all of that stuff.
This is why self-promotion feels so grimy. Friends are the reason why self-promotion feels so grimy, because your friends don't support you in anything you do. That's just facts.
Wow, you need new friends,
or a hug potentially. That's probably the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Whenever you do something creative
I don't get it either.
or artistic or whatever, your friends will not support you in that shit.
I don't get it.
Get it. I know him, and it probably sucks. Like, and that's that. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we could talk about how, like, what are the reasons your friends don't support your creative, like, business or related endeavors?
I would like to know.
Because I think it's how intimidating it is, and sometimes people don't want to get involved, I guess. But otherwise, it's like people low-key just don't want to see you win, and it seems like it's like, why?
It's part of that. I think, you know why I think part of why they don't want to see you win is, though, like, you're in a group of friends, right? And usually when it starts out, especially when you're young, right, y'all all ain't doing shit. And then it's like one of you starts doing shit and you're like, he doing shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you like fucked up about it because like you weren't doing shit, and like who told him he could go do shit? Now he's doing shit. Man. He's looking popping and stuff.
Who the fuck he think he is, man?
Having a life and shit. Like,
and then ego gets involved.
Yeah, because then now you got to get compared to like, and then your parents got to ask you, well, you know, Mark down the street said, and then it was like,
you
why
aren't
you going
together?
to school? Like, it's like.
You know? Get up off your ass and go do something. Go be somebody.
And it's like, I don't want to do anything. I'm a loser. I don't know what to do. Like,
oh no. Oh God.
But listen, you know what my point in saying that is? It's like, support your friends, and your time is coming. Like, my success doesn't like get in the way of your success unless you're trying to start a podcast too, in which case, fuck you. I'm going to be better than you. But you know what? I still support you and love you, you know?
I don't think that was the one, Logan, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to say I don't think that was the one.
When this
I feel what you was trying to do.
Sort of like, oof, you know.
Yeah, it's just I don't think that was the one. Maybe try again. You know, my fault. Either try again or just let me do it because I could make it the one. But that just wasn't. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna get us.
Let's just let Mitchell do it.
I
let Mitchell do all the supportive stuff.
And I felt it. I felt the love, but it just it's just not. It's not how people like to receive it.
There.
It's just no. But it's okay.
Care. That's not how they like to receive it. I'm competitive. Like, what do y'all think I'm doing?
I get
Listen, there's only one number one.
Okay. Yeah. Only one number one.
All right. You know what I like about Mitch is that like Mitch is such a pure soul, And
I know.
sometimes,
Guys,
you know what I mean?
Guys, I'm not that pure.
He
So
is,
please,
he is.
please
He's
stop
the purest
saying that.
soul.
You're pure. This is like,
A black
my
sludge
God.
of souls. You're pretty fucking pure, bro.
and he just, that's the other thing. Like Mitch is so pure, but he'll hang out with like some garbage in a minute. You know what I mean? Like he'll hang out with like.
Fuck are we talking about? The fuck are we talking about right now, bro?
As far as like souls go, like Mitch be slumming it. Like,
okay, so first off, I just want to set the record straight that nobody's soul is more or less than anybody else's soul. Okay,
you see what I mean?
Pure
See what I mean?
AF.
all right. So
I
first
don't
off,
see that that way.
Second
I don't
off,
see that that way.
I don't see that. Anyway, second off, I'm not really that pure of a soul myself. Anyway, so I never had hangups about, I meet people and I let them show me who they are, and then I treat people accordingly.
He's not a pure soul, but then he describes all the pure soul shit he does.
I think what you're mistaking from this is the fact that you can be pure soul and still like lived a life. You can be pure soul and like seen some shit. You can be pure soul and like done some shit. Just because like you're not a perfect person. No one's a person. That's not an insult. That's just me being like factual. No one's a perfect person. Everyone makes mistakes, but pure soul means that no matter how many mistakes you make and where you've come from, you still have that like ability to see the good in the world, and you have that. So you're pure soul, and you can't even take that away from yourself.
Like Mitch is like,
he's got this look on his face, which is so like he's like, I'm so uncomfy.
to
like,
me,
I don't like
to
this.
me, Mitch is just like what Claire said. Like he sees the good in the world, right?
See, it's not nice, is it, homie? When you were doing it to me like 2 weeks ago, it wasn't nice, was it? Was it?
I'm sorry, I forget how it feels.
I know.
Sorry.
And you were doing it to me, and I was sitting there like, and you were,
yeah, except you were. I'm just gonna cry.
yeah, you're like, girl, you've been genuine. I was just playing.
But he is
Okay.
like that. But he's just like that.
It's true.
I feel like
He's like, shut the fuck up.
no, because I feel like Mitch is like that, and like I'm not necessarily the opposite. Like I feel like the way I am is like if Mitch is right and there is like good in the world, then it's
What the fuck, bro?
what?
Did you
Just
don't say
imagine
what
like,
after
ew.
saying what you just said? Like you
Give me a
didn't say.
second. Just give me a
Okay,
second.
all right,
it gets
all right.
better, okay?
Oh
Mitchell
god.
is the good in the world.
I'm saying like if he's like that and there is good in the world, then what I figure is that it should like we should either find it or like we protect it or whatever. And I
like,
would
we
be
need to do something
and I-
about it.
yeah, like,
so
I would-
pragmatic about it.
I would do anything. I would do anything to like protect it or whatever, right? So like that's where me and Mitch kind of divide at
100%.
because like then he's like, Logan, you don't have to burn a village to do that. And I'm like, if the village is like
I'm the same,
made of your
though.
enemies
If
though,
someone
like
came to me and proved to my like judgmental ass that this child is going to save the world. She's the purest, or he is the purest little child in the world.
Mhm.
I would protect that child, or like even person. Like it doesn't have to be a child. In my head, it was like prophecy anime style child, but it doesn't
Right, I
have to
feel
be
you.
that. It could be like an adult or something. If someone came to me and like this human being was the most pure human being, and you have to protect them, I'd go full like ninja style. I'd do like combat training. Like I would protect it with my life.
I
I'd
know,
burn down
like I would feel so
villages.
much
Claire,
pressure.
I'm in the woods
Yeah.
running.
I would feel so much pressure about it that I would like quit my job and I'd be
Yeah,
like,
right.
I got to do more
I gotta
push-ups. I
commit.
can't be
Yeah.
here. I got to do push-ups now, and I don't have
I have
time
a
for this.
mission
Like I
now.
am, like
Yeah.
Same.
I'm doing like
Same.
One Punch Man push-ups, like 1,000
Yeah.
push-ups a day.
Actually, it was only 100. I think it was only
Yeah, he
100.
did like 100 a day. and
It was
got
just
buffed.
100 push-ups a day, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats. And he was
Just
like, "That's what I did for the
Good
past year."
training. Yeah.
I was watching this parody, and in it, this chick comes up to One Punch Man, and she's just like, it's like a cartoon parody, but it was like not one. It's like not affiliated with One Punch Man. It was just bullshit
okay.
on YouTube. And this chick comes up to One Punch Man, and she's like, "How did you get so strong?" And he's like, "I did 100 push-ups every day." And she just looked at him, and he was like, "You just got to do 100 push-ups every day." And she's like, And he was like, you're not going to do that, are you? And she's like, I'm going to try cut dairy out of my diet and see how that goes first. And then like,
Yeah,
and I was like,
it'd be like that. No, man, I do need to try that because I could bust out 50 push-ups easy, but I want to be able to just run through 100.
We saw the Instagram.
You
Mitch.
guys suck.
We saw
I
it.
remember I was talking to Logan.
You know, well,
about
that's light work. You know, I'm a little bit better off now. I've been getting
What'd you say?
exercising.
Claire?
I was saying how much you guys suck because I was talking to Logan, like this was months and months ago, before the podcast, about like health and stuff because I had some health issues going on and I was working out for it. And
Nice.
I was like doing crunches and Logan was just like, when I do crunches, I get abs. And I was like, well, when I see stupid guys, I punch them in the face. I'm just sitting there sweating, still chubby as fuck. Like,
Like, shut up, Logan. No, I get that.
I get abs.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything.
No one asked for that, Logan. Where is your support?
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what's the difference between me and y'all? I never like out y'all on the show. I always say like nice, great things. I'm like, Mitch is a
so
pure
out
soul.
me.
I love Claire. And y'all will be like, remember that one time when Logan did that really grimy shit? Like, I mean, like, wait, what?
Look, man, if you don't want it to be spoken about, don't do it. If you only want good things said about you, do good things.
I do good things.
I talk about those. Half the time I try and talk about something good you did though, and you're like, shut the fuck up. No.
Yeah.
It depends on what the good thing is. I don't want to get
right?
I don't want to get a reputation, you know?
Right.
I can't
listen, I can't win with this guy.
Well, okay, but listen, I can't live Mitch's life. I can't do it. So like that's the main thing. Like Mitch can live that pure life like that. And
Also,
be nice
it
to
is a good
everybody.
thing that you defend me. And like I'm always talking about how like you will always defend me.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
And I was also talking about how you were soothing. Okay, my auntie said this, but you're soothing and shit. Apparently, also very attractive. Like,
Claire.
Thank you. Yeah, I could.
Claire.
I'll take that.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
say that. That
Claire. Claire,
Yeah.
Claire, tell your auntie to come through.
Whoa.
Tell her yourself.
Bro.
She listens.
I know. I'm telling her now.
Rude. Oh, he said, I know. I'm telling her right now.
Let's actually talk about something, guys.
Oh, well, we've been
Yeah,
having a
it's been
good
like
discussion,
half an hour
but we have actual
crap.
topics, so it's not like we don't have to talk.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that we got to get to.
What do y'all want to talk about?
I want to talk about Claire.
Talk about.
You wanted to talk about fatphobia.
So, yeah, I did. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. Like I am prepared, but like I wasn't prepared to like
Jump
about
into
now.
it like that.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be first. You know, I hate being first. It's okay.
We've been
I'm
like through
prepared.
an hour of like almost like.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Look.
Okay.
Let her finish, please.
All right.
I'm happy to talk about it. I just wasn't. I know we've been through an hour of crap. I'm not mad at you for wanting to get on topic. That's perfectly reasonable. My point was, all three of us have topics we're going to talk about today. Why am I first? That was my point. Anywho.
I don't know. I just I like it. It's a good subject. That's why.
Okay. Well, thanks.
And you bring all the topics to the yard.
My milkshakes. Oh fuck.
Okay.
I'm so stupid. Anyway, come on, brain. You know how to do this. You've done this before.
Well, what is it that you wanted to talk about it? Like, what caught your attention
No,
about
I know.
it?
I'm getting there, bro.
Oh.
What caught my attention? Look at me. My life got my attention. What caught? You're acting like I'm some skinny bitch who's just noticed that this is an issue.
There she
Man,
goes.
I
There we
hate the
go.
fact that you did that about yourself, but it was so funny.
There she goes. That's what I wanted.
Oh man, Claire.
Now
All
we're
right, well-
talking. Now we're talking about it,
Well,
right?
Claire, since we're getting into fatphobia, and I used to be a personal trainer, so I do want to talk
You
to you.
did?
Maybe
Wait,
have a
hold
little-
on. We made that joke on the podcast, but you're actually a personal trainer.
Oh, wait. Did we talk about? No, I was an actual
No, we
personal
made a
trainer
joke because
at
you're
Equinox.
giving your Uber Eats guide tips on how to work out. And then we were joking, like, you want a tip? Here's a tip. Don't skip leg day.
I remember that. Yeah. But no, I was actually a personal trainer for 6 months at Equinox. Yep. And for me, because, you know, fatphobia is a rampant thing.
Sometimes, but yeah. Mm.
The way I talk was wrong. What do you mean?
And then one summer in the Equinox, I was like, what?
It wasn't a summer. It was a few seasons.
Well, I didn't say summer. I said 6 months. I worked at Equinox for 6 months.
Sorry, in my brain, summer.
Yeah. So Equinox is like the gym or whatever.
Yeah, the fancy gym.
Yeah. Because you know how Equinox is actually like
great experience, mind you. I did end up going separate ways for my own personal reasons, but I have nothing bad to say. It was actually really enjoyable experience. But nonetheless, fatphobia is a thing that runs rampant through any like gym community or anything. And it's like so much people, especially
it makes it hard to want to do, like, want to work out, to want to get fit, to want to be healthy.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And it really puts the pressure on appearance and not actual physically being fitter.
Yes. And for me, I'm sorry. Shit, I feel like you have. All right, I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, but everything you're saying, I absolutely, no, because I want to kind of have a back and forth with you about it, because you're going to get into it, and I found a lot of people, especially like women, people get really concerned with the number on the scale versus the actual composition and function of their bodies, which was something I'd ask you about, because is that something that you dealt with, that you were bothered by, and you kind of find yourself transitioning into a different mindset, to a different space?
Yeah, like with everything to do with me, I have a bit of a story, but I'm going to try and keep it cut in half, because Logan puts me on emotional bands. Like, it's not bad, but I'm a very emotional person, and I kind of give 100% all the time. So when I do give 100%, Logan has to cut me back, just because, see, another nice thing about you, Logan. Otherwise I'll burn out and just like kill myself. But I'll get into it a little bit. I have struggled with eating disorders all throughout my teenage years. I've struggled with, I still struggle with trying to keep a healthy balance physically. I'm not someone who enjoys exercising really at all, but I still try and do it just to keep healthy. And also, as I was saying before, I'm really big on survival, sometimes when you're mentally ill and you focus on something I've grabbed onto is survival. So if I focus on survival, then I'm, surviving, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not focusing on the other thing. So to do that, I was like putting my brain in all these weird situations where I was like, oh, if I'm in the woods and this thing's chasing me, how am I going to friggin' run away if I'm too unfit, So I just sort of use that sort of shit to motivate me. It's weird, but you got to use what you got to use. So at the moment, I like to keep a pretty healthy balance, but I'm still quite chubby. And I struggled for a really long time before, back when I was younger, about the appearance of it all,
Yeah.
Now I'm sort of like, it's skin. Who cares? It's just skin. I want to do what I want. But back then, it was very appearance-based, hence all the eating disorders and everything else that I was facing. And because of the eating disorders, I really would like to point this out, because I don't know why this isn't talked about nearly enough, but eating disorders make you less healthy. They completely erode your gums and your teeth. They fuck up your esophagus. They completely push your metabolism out of whack, to the point where I was actually fatter by the time I got healthier than when I actually decided to start my eating disorder. At the time. I gained twice as much weight because my body was reserving it for nutrients. My body was starved of nutrients for so long that when I started eating again and getting healthier and stuff and going through all that, they started to reserve it, and I got fatter. So I was like, fuck, but I had to learn not to care about that. It's just, I don't know. Do you have something you want to say? My brain just farted.
I'm sorry to hear about what you experienced. Did you have something to say, Logan?
Yeah.
Always. Sorry.
Wow. Damn. That's fucked up.
I'm sorry. I was
Get him,
vulnerable,
Claire.
so it made me get a bitey. Go on.
Yeah, very bitey.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't even that bitey.
What I wanted to talk about
Compared.
though is that I don't want to dive too deep for you because I know I don't want to make it like a more of an emotional thing, and you do bear a lot of your soul, and I do appreciate that, for the show. And like, I do
You appreciate that, period.
Shut up. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I said what I said. I appreciate that for the show. Shit. But no, what I kind of wanted to get. I'm just editing it out. It's fine. Don't hurt my feelings. Damn it, Mitch. You always do this to me. You always make me forget what I'm saying because you got some bullshit to add. No, we're talking about a really like good and serious like topic. And like I kind of wanted you to go deeper into like not exactly what your experiences are with fatphobia, because I feel like people always talk about that. And I do respect you telling us about that and your experience about that, because I think that's a good foundation to start from.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about the eating disorders because of what I said about how a lot of people don't know that sort of stuff, about how it fucks you up.
Yeah, that's why I think I kind of wanted to go with it too, because you were talking about it. And like every time like somebody announces that they've had an eating disorder or that they do have an eating disorder, it's kind of like people kind of hear that and they're like, oh, that's kind of fucked up and all that. But like, I don't think people actually understand what it means when somebody has an eating disorder. Because I noticed that some of my friends that have gone through that, and who have been vocal about that, they will like go in depth and say that, but then it's like still few and far between, because it seems to me like when somebody's going through an actual eating disorder, like there's kind of a stigma about it that like, oh, she throws up, oh, she does this, and oh, she does that, oh, she's bulimic, oh, she doesn't eat or anything like this. And then we kind of have like nobody helps people with like an eating disorder. Like they just kind of like let them kind of rot in a way,
Mm-hmm.
There is such
you're right.
stigma, yeah.
I think it really, and it's also depending on the eating disorder. I think what we've done as a society is we wanted to push that eating disorders were bad, right? We were like, that's bad because of the reasons I said. It's really bad for your health. You have long-lasting effects afterwards. But what people don't understand is they're trying to stop the pseudo solution that isn't healthy for you without even acknowledging the problem.
Right.
The thing that caused this pseudo solution that doesn't work.
Right.
They're not like that. No one is fixing the fact that media portrays women a certain way. No one is fixing fatphobia or the rampant, like, I get so frustrated when, like, this has happened to me recently where I've said something or posted something, someone's commented on my weight. I've said, that's sort of not your business. And they've been like, oh, I'm just so worried about your health. I'm worried about your health. My health is fucking fine, thank you. Like, I walk every goddamn day. I do floor exercises every day. I do the right amount of cardio to keep me healthy. I'm not skinny. I still eat a fuck ton of crap. I'm fine.
Right. And can I say like people that say that like you're not a doctor? Like
exactly.
How do
it's
you
not
know?
their business.
How do you
it's
know?
not your business.
Yeah, Claire's right. It's not.
If my PT came up to me, like if I had a PT or a doctor or anyone who I've literally paid to give me an opinion on my body, and they were like, look, I don't think you're healthy. Like, I'm worried about you.
Exactly.
Right.
I'd be like, I will take that on. I'm happy to deal with that. That's gravy. That's fine.
Right.
But for some random bitch I met in high school who only looks at, like, scrolls through my Facebook every 5-10 days.
No, smash your head against the printer, Claire. Smash your head against the fucking printer, Claire.
Yeah, throw her, Claire.
It's upsetting. It's rude. And it's unnecessary. And I've lost a lot of friends because of that. Like, I had this friend in high school, and she'd always just make tiny little jokes. And at the time, I was bulimic. So I was already, like, going through it. and I was struggling with my sexuality, and high school's rough for everybody. I was going through it. Anyway, so I'm struggling, and I'm at this house, and we're having a good time, and I'm happy, and I'm with my friends, and we buy all these snacks because we're doing this movie night. And my friend just grabs them all, puts them on my lap, and is like, well, that is Claire's snacks. What is everyone else eating? Like, it was just like this joke that she made.
Wow.
An incredibly poor taste. And I was sort of just sitting there. And you know those moments where someone just did something rude, but you don't know the social acceptable answer. Like, you don't know.
Right, exactly.
Did you
how
laugh?
to tell them.
Was that was that malicious or was that just misinformed?
Like,
I had no idea. Like, what?
It's like you're so shocked. It's like you're so shocked that like the person would do that in like real life that it's like is this even real? Like, did you really do that to me? Did you really say that? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know?
And also that self-preservation part of you knows that if you say something, they're all going to turn on you.
Right.
They're all going to turn on you, and they're all going to be like, "Don't be so serious."
Right. Exactly.
It's fine. It was just a joke.
Right.
And it's like, that was really fucking rude. And
just really a joke is not just a joke. Like, if it's a joke about like what makes you a person, that's not just a joke. Like, especially
even more so than that though. Like, not every joke's funny.
That's
you made
the
a
other
joke?
thing. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes.
That shit wasn't funny.
Yes.
I'm about to fucking smack the teeth out your mouth. Watch how you speak to me, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Was that a little too aggressive?
No,
a little too aggressive for the pod.
I use those moments all the time as like a litmus test of where I'm at. You know what I mean?
No,
for real though.
Facts,
because like
facts,
if like everybody could just like laugh at the racist joke or whatever, and then I'm just like there, I'm like, wow, I'm in the wrong fucking room. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get out of here.
A quick little, yeah, man.
I'm gonna go
grab a drink real quick.
I don't play with people anymore. Like, I don't wait around to see like if you like me and I can get you guys.
Put a call up. These motherfuckers racist.
I'm like, let me get out of here.
Like, that's fair.
Because like Claire,
I wish I knew that back then.
No, you brought up a good. I think it's part of growing up though, so it's okay. I think Claire brought up a good point. But if you do listen to this show, and maybe you're on the younger side, you shouldn't be. But if you do listen to it, right?
Anyway,
some of the
go ahead.
crap we talk about,
because some of the shit we say, I listen. If you look on if you listen on Google Podcasts or something like that, right? It'll have like a little E next to every episode name, and the E basically means explicit. So that if that tells you anything, Mitch, that's what that means. That's what I mean. That's
probably my bad, to be fair.
No, it's not. No, it's
most certainly not.
No.
We all at minimum at least share one thing that'll make the show explicit.
Way more than one, and I do.
Way more than one.
I know,
but at minimum, there's at least even if we said like one thing, we drop one F-bomb, there has to be an explicit there.
Yeah, but what I was trying to say is that people, you coming up, you growing up, you coming up, is that don't waste your time on this friend shit, and this is what I mean. And I like how the theme is circling around the friends in this episode.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay, that's not where we were.
Well, give me a second before you make me sound bad. Sorry. Is that don't hyper focus on this friend shit, because I feel like we get so caught up about friends. This is my friend. That's my friend. No, don't do that. That's your friend. And then like your friends aren't even treating you like a human being.
Yeah. No, it's natural to want to find peers though, and in your teenage years, when
exactly.
Biologically we start trying to form groups and find our people. And
what I'm trying to say is that like even through that, you
just gave me an idea for a topic, Claire, for next week.
Oh, good. Well, maybe you should talk about it this week. We have like 3 topics this week, so it's okay. Yeah. No, what I was saying is that like. No, it is your formative time to like build relationships and hang out with your peers. But listen, even if you're in high school, right? Don't be afraid to just like cut people out of your life. And then like, I know you got to see them every day, but you only got to talk to them every day. Like maybe you need to go to a different high school and let your people know about that. And maybe you can't. And I get that too. But don't waste your time. Don't waste your personal time. It's one thing you in class and you got to sit next to a joker. And even kids in college, y'all go through this too. Don't waste your time with people who do not give a shit about you. Do not waste. Don't do it. Just don't. So much of your
Think
time
about all of the things you could be doing or spending time with by not giving them any light.
Yes, you could be loving yourself and finding people who love you. Don't sit around trying to impress people who don't care about you. For what? Why would you do that to yourself?
Take your time, Pastor. Take your time. Take your time.
But I'm serious. Like if you sit around, like you guys,
yes,
like,
Lord,
y'all love anime. I like anime, right? If somebody came up here and they was like, "Oh, anime's stupid. Anime's this. Anime's that," you know. And I make my little anime jokes about how we dorks and stuff about talking about it because I know how dorky it sounds, right? And I know we're on a platform.
He's trying to be a cool kid, but he just ain't.
Yeah, but at the same time, if somebody came up here with this, I heard it. I know what I've said. Yeah, too. If somebody came up here and they wanted to pull that crap with us, they got to go. I'm not having that shit on the show because I'm not having y'all feel uncomfortable. But I'll save this topic because like I was going to talk about this, but I know we're on what we're on, and I'm sorry I took the mic from you, Claire. What I was trying to say, basically, even on Claire's point, is that like with the whole fatphobia thing, is that like don't let people just talk about you any type of way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You never deserve to be disrespected.
Yeah, don't have people just disrespect you. Don't talk about you any type of way, and then let the whole crowd do it too. Like remove yourself from that place, you know. And like Claire, I'm not blaming you, Claire, for not being able to do that.
Yeah, so, no. I wasn't going to say that at all. What I was actually going to say was just getting back to the topic, like that moment at hand, is I gave them power.
Right.
I gave them power over me, over my mind. Yes. I let them make a huge life decision that has affected me to this day.
Right.
By letting them get to me. And like, yes, I chose to have the eating disorder, but it was their words and that lifestyle that I was living.
That made you react to that way.
React to that. And like when it comes to fatphobia, I get it's hard. To teenagers now, like we said, don't listen. If you're listening, I know it's hard now, but if I grew up now with like the Lizzos and the like women out there who are big and proud and beautiful, like what you guys have, I think I would still struggle because I grew up in like buttfuck nowhere, but at the same time, at least I wouldn't feel so alone, you know, and I think that's something you guys should hold on to is you're not alone. And even if you are in the middle of buttfuck nowhere and everyone's size 2 and tiny and there's something in the water and you don't know what's happening, why you're the only fat one, because that's how it felt at the time.
No, I know, right? It's hard in small towns, man, especially you never know who you're going to be friends with and you might be the only person experiencing such a thing and it just feels like intense. It's like shit, now everyone's watching me. The town's small, so it's almost like everyone is watching you every time you walk out because fatphobia gets you all insecure. You're self-conscious all the time, you know what I mean? You're just sitting here like walking through the square, someone may laugh, not even about you because they don't even care about you, but you hear that laugh and all of a sudden you're like shit, oh my god, I can't even be outside or go anywhere. No one should ever have to feel that way.
I go to a page sometimes when I'm feeling really low. And do you guys know Jamila Jamil?
No.
I've heard of her, but I don't know much about her.
Look into it because she has this page on Instagram and it's called I Weigh. And basically she started this page because she was noticing on Instagram like this thing about how women were being like basically rated for their weight or something. I can't remember exactly what she said. She said something along those lines. Look into it because she says it better than I ever could. She's really eloquent. I love her to pieces. She's like awesome. She's really good for women. She's really like, she's good. Anyway, she has this I Weigh page and on it, people post just pictures about, and then they like, I weigh, you know, I work 2 jobs. I weigh my loving family. I weigh, and all the things that like they like instead of saying I weigh this much, they're going on about how much they weigh, emotionally, spiritually, mentally,
right,
what they've
okay.
taken on in life, what they carry through life. And some are even like, I weigh a wheelchair, like sort of like, like but they take it on as like a positive, and it's like a really good affirmation system. So check her out. She's really cool. And just quickly, I wanted to touch on how being overweight just doesn't define self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even males struggle with this, and like there's been a lot of jokes about how, fat women have makeup, fat men have being funny and stuff like that.
I've never heard that one, but go on.
Yeah, maybe that's an Australian thing. I don't know.
Have you ever heard that one, Mitch?
Say it again, please.
Fat women have makeup and fat men have being funny.
yeah, I have actually.
Okay,
and it's an ugly guy joke too, because it's like, oh,
it is.
It's like, oh, how do these ugly guys get a girl? And he's just like, well, the more I make her laugh, the more she closes her eyes.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, that's the other one.
Oh, that hurt me. Yikes.
I mean, no, well, when you think about it, it's coming from men. So, and it is supposed to be a joke, so it's not actually,
Yeah, but just it hurts because like it's like maybe you feel that way about yourself a little bit. You know what I mean?
Some people, yeah, but if you're comfortable with that, and to me, since we're talking about fatphobia, we could brush on the beauty standard real quick, because people like to pretend there's some universal beauty standard, except I'm sorry, here's the 411. There isn't. People just like what they like, and sometimes certain groups of people tend to portray what they like more than others, and all of a sudden people think they need to look a certain type of way, and by certain groups I'm talking about media, when there isn't any actual universal standard. People just really like what they like, and it's like, let people be. Shit, why did I bring that up again?
You're all good.
Oh, for the men. So if you're secure in that, if you're like, yo, all right, I'm an ugly guy, but I can make women laugh because I have a great personality, which is something you should take pride in. Having a great personality is fucking great, and you're comfortable with that. There's no problem with that. Beauty standard doesn't exist anyway. You're not actually ugly, and at least you're comfortable with who you are. Because in one sense, you're comfortable with how you look. You've accepted how you look, and you now also know you have a great personality. So there is a positive there in the joke, but it's still like, geez, man.
Do you think you can be positively ugly?
Me personally, I don't actually really believe in ugly anymore. I'm not going to pretend I like everything. I don't. I'm not attracted or sexually attracted to everything. No. But nonetheless, it's like, once again, I am not the universal standard. You are not an ugly person. I'm just not personally maybe attracted to you. Perhaps someone else is, because there aren't really any ugly people unless there's like ugly fucking souls. Oh, you steal money out of fucking homeless people's tip jars?
That's
to buy crack.
That's dirty.
Coke? Yeah, that's fucking dirty. You ugly as fuck, motherfucker. You need to go. You need to do something about that ugliness. Shit, man.
How did you name like the most evil thing in the world?
I don't know. My brain just jumped there. I needed something ugly. Like, so that was. Hold up. Let's go for another one. You beat down. You're a woman who tries to like beat down other women rather than lifting them up because you think you're prettier or superior in some way. Oh, you had bigger boobs in school and stuff, and all of a sudden you were so much more valuable than the other woman. Oh, guess what? You're not actually hot. You're ugly as fuck, bitch.
That was something crazy about high school. Sorry, just to jump back on to what I was talking about quickly. Something I never realized, but I found out like 5 years later. Every guy in my school wanted to fuck me because I had tits and they didn't. But no one said anything.
To be like that sometimes.
Like I found this out like 5 years later. This guy messaged me. He's like, hey. And I was like, hi.
I needed people to see your face on that. Like, what? Claire's face was like, what the fuck are you? Okay, I don't.
What do you want?
Not even what do you want? Since when do you want? And
yeah. What? For high school, he had nothing to do with me. He was never nasty to me, but he never had anything to do with me. He never spoke to me or anything. Turns out, like him and half of his friends thought about it.
Wow.
And then felt the need to tell me 5 years later when they were no longer like oppressed by their fucking social norms
you know
in
Claire
high
from
school.
third English, from third period English. What, Claire?
I
You
found her
know
on
Claire?
Facebook. You want to hook her up?
Yeah, bro. Would you tap that? And everybody's in the locker room like, whoa, bro, Claire. You know what? Actually, bro, she's got some knocker on us, man. I think I might. What, bro? Should be on me too, man. And Claire's just walking around being bullied, and they would come out and be like, "Yeah, shut up, Claire.
Yeah.
Where's Claire? Jeez, Claire. Oh my God."
Say, I have standards, and none of them ever did. So.
Thank God.
That's right, Claire.
Story.
I
thought
didn't
that
mean
was
to say
crazy.
thank God,
I was
but
just like, yeah, Logan knows my self-worth standards and how it fluctuates.
I feel you sometimes. We all been there, right? We all been there, kind of, sort of. Before we set the, we're like, no, we're like, no, we can't keep doing that.
To be fair,
it could have been. I
to
would
be
have had
fair,
this
Claire
like
knows
team.
mine too. So.
Yeah, true.
No, what I was thinking about was that like, that's a really real phenomenon you were talking about, but it's like, in a way, it's just stupid, and people don't get called out for being cowards as much as they should. You know what I mean? And I don't mean just because, just to call them out, just to shame them, but like that would have made somebody grow, you know what I mean? Like, you want to talk to me now because your homies aren't around and it's okay now, like, it's like, girls do that too. Like, girls do that too. Like, with certain dudes too. And it's like, people really should get called out about that a little bit more, because it's like, you can't. I think it would just make the world a better place, because like it would teach people that you shouldn't be afraid to like defend other people's humanity. Like, if you find somebody attractive, right? And what if they are like conventionally ugly? This is what I wanted to say about the ugliness part. But like, what if they are conventionally ugly, right? And you like that? Like, that's what you like, right? But you don't want to say anything because you don't want to get clowned by somebody, right? It's like, then on some level, you're kind of a coward about that, And I don't mean to like put myself on a high horse about it, I've been there. I know what that's like. But at the same time, I wanted to say that, like, somebody should have called me a coward for that shit. You know what I mean? Somebody should have said that. No, for real. They should have like spoke up.
You ugly woman, coward man.
Yeah, love your ugly woman, you coward man. That's what somebody should have said.
Oh, God,
like, why would you let like? Because listen, this is the weird, like, pseudo weird part to me, is like, you're looking at somebody, you like them, and everybody is like curb stomping them. They're just fucking like stepping on them, and like, you don't do anything about it. Like, isn't that like cowardly shit? Like, think about.
Well, technically, it's not your responsibility just because you actually like, but it's like, why don't you stick up and stand up?
Exactly. That's my point. Is that like, this is somebody you say in your heart, at least to yourself, like every night, like, dang, Sharice is real. Like, I love Sharice, right?
I mean,
but
I
as
know.
soon as you get out there, right, it's like, fuck Sharice. I
don't want
Logan.
Logan.
You know what
it's
I mean?
funny hearing this from you, because I know, don't get me wrong, it's like, yeah, maybe you should say something, but it's like, all right, just because I have feelings of affection for Sharice, all of a sudden means I got to take a bullet for Sharice. I don't know if I want to.
I think what it goes down to.
And I'm not trying to take it to that
people.
extreme, but that's what it's not necessarily that person's responsibility.
Yes, I think so.
Wait,
no,
you
got a good point.
Okay.
You got a good point, but you got a good point, but yes, you should take that bullet for Sharice, because like, you the one that like her ugly self. So yes, you should get up.
Sharice isn't ugly woman. Beauty standards don't exist.
I think what Logan's trying to say is, if you genuinely care for someone, you can't care just for their like there's something about them that you care for, so you should defend that. Like, and you shouldn't let appearance get in the way of that. When you care, people are autonomous. They're a full being. They're a full rounded person. It's more than just the tits, like, you should care for people.
Right.
Like, if you care for them and you want to fuck them, then maybe you should show a semblance of, morality.
Right.
And not fucking just ignore it for your own, like, self-preservation and selfish needs.
And side note, quick side note, even if you don't want to fuck them, if you still end up liking them or attracted to them in some way, maybe you should still stand up for them anyway.
Yes, I think I just zeroed in on. I understand what he's going with it, but
you know what I mean.
I think I just zeroed in on that one on that part though, because it's like even a person who says that they like you won't like step out and defend you. You know what I mean?
That's all.
And it's like, and that's kind of the horrible part, because sometimes you just need like one person to like defend you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just roughing it by yourself.
And that's even like a friend thing. Like I remember there was this girl in my school. She was shat on, but for lack of a better term, like she was not top of the feud, like anywhere near the top. And I was walking to class one time and I saw her, and we had this like weird little podium in the middle of this like concrete area, and she was just crossing over it. And these boys came and they just shoved her down, and she lost all her shit, and her friggin' glasses broke and her knees were grazed. And I just went over there and I helped her pick up her shit. And she was like checking out her knee scab, and I was like, "Gross." Okay. I was just helping her in my head, obviously. And I was like helping her pick up her shit and stuff. And I was like, "Do you want me to help you anywhere?" And she was like, "No." And then she just looked up at me and she was like, "Thanks, Claire." And I was like, "Oh," like my heart just shattered into a million pieces. I was like, that meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
The fact that someone gave a shit that she felt. I didn't stop them. Like, I should have, but, you know, whatever. I'm not going to go back in time and do anything about it, so whatever. I should have stopped them, but I didn't. But at least I went over and I helped her up. Like, you know what I mean? At least I gave her half-assed something than nothing, you know? Right. She wasn't my friend, and, you know, I barely spoke to her again after that. Not because I didn't want to, but just because of life. I was older than her too. But yeah, shit happens, you know? And if you can just give like a piece of yourself, at least you're giving something. At least you're doing something. And to you, you just picked up some books and said some nice words. But to her, she didn't feel alone in the world, you know? Right. And like you hear about these stories about people who are this close to killing themselves, like this, like an inch away from killing themselves. Yeah. And then someone will do something like, "Oh, you dropped an apple," or, "Oh, I noticed you did this," or like gave them this tiniest semblance of like kindness, and that has pushed them through over the edge, you know? So yeah, it's important. It's something to think about, that's for sure.
I think when we were talking earlier about like survival instincts and like just wanting to survive, that becomes part of it, because like you said, it keeps somebody from feeling alone in the world, and we're such social creatures that like if we feel alone, we do want to die. You know what I mean? Like, can we talk about ugly people? Because I wanted to
Jeez, Logan, you really needed, and you see me on here saying I don't even believe in that concept in the first place.
I know. I wanted to circle back to it because I kind of wanted to kind of spark the conversation when I said, like, you know, do you think that, like, I forgot what I said. But anyways, I just wanted to be like, because one time I read this thing, right? I read this post one time where like somebody was like, they hate when somebody's like, "Oh, you're beautiful," and they're like try to tell like people be like, "Oh no, you're beautiful, you're pretty," and all this and that, and they're like, "Listen, I am ugly. I know I'm ugly, and I like being ugly." You know what I mean? Like, and so like I thought of like that one's always like affected me in a way, because like I feel like we have like this stigma. We have like this thing where we try to fight against like beauty standards and norms, and I get that. But also at the same time, I feel like they're just like ugly people, and like it's okay to be ugly. You know what I mean? Like it's just okay to just not look okay. Like, you know what I mean?
But see, what is looking okay? What is it, symmetry to you? Because this is my thing, and now we can kind of take it into the logical debate if you want to talk about it.
I feel like it's not just the symmetry of one's face. I feel like if you are getting reviews all the time about how ugly you are, like, what are you supposed to do with that in your life? You know what I mean? Like, if somebody comes to you and they're like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty," and then it's like, or they do this, or they do the thing where they go like this, "Oh my God, you are so beautiful. How, like, I just wanted to thank you for coming out today." You know what I mean? Like they do that shit to you. It's like, it's a kind of a good indication that you're not like getting sincerely treated as like a pretty person, and you're not getting like, you know what I mean? So I get like what they say in the post when they're like, just like leave me alone, just like let me be ugly and in peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I feel like you can be ugly and it can be okay, and it can be okay to just be ugly, and that like what's not okay though, let me say, what's not okay is for somebody to make you feel bad about being ugly, I think. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, that's I would agree with that. That's fair. I'm just told on the standard of things, because it just feels to me like it always just feels like a popularity contest almost. And I'm not gonna say that's always the case, because there is a certain like biological aspect to what people are attracted to in one sense, and what people like feel. Because I feel like procreation plays an element, because you're like, yo. And one level, when we go like we're physically attracted to someone, we're also going like, yo, I would want to sleep with that person. In one way, like I would see myself having children with that person, because sexual attraction eventually leads to sex, which can lead to children. And so it's like there's this aspect of passing on certain genes, which is why I asked you. I wasn't even trying to be mean. I was just like, so what is it to you? What is beautiful to you? Is it like the symmetry? Is it the way someone's skin looks, the way someone's eyes look? What makes you say that person is it for me? But I say because I like
that. We can do that too.
Well, I wasn't finished, because I was going to say because that's one aspect, but it's like then it becomes a popularity contest where a person goes, so this is what does it for me, and they make other people believe like that's what the standard is, and that's what it should be for you as well.
Because I was going to say, I know people who are like eye people. They love eyes, the windows to the soul, blah, blah, blah. But then people are all about the lips, you know, you got to have the lips. And then there's like, you know, butt people, boob people, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. People are different. I don't know why.
No, I just expect you to keep talking. Sorry. But
just the way you like landed on that one.
I was so keen to talk, and I was like, I'll just jump in real quick and just say this a little bit, and then you were both just super silent. I was like, why?
No, because we're just like, oh, okay. We're like, yeah, okay, yeah. She probably has a little.
You always think I'm going somewhere with stuff, and sometimes I am. And the worst part is sometimes I'll have something really good to say, but you guys will be busy doing that weird thing you do where you're arguing. So I'll just sit and I'll wait. And then you'll give me the floor, but it'll be something like stupid that I only have like one comment on, and then you'll be like, now talk. And I'm like, but I'm done. I decide how much I want to talk, not you.
So you're correct. I'm sorry.
So earlier in the day, me and Mitch also had another argument. Clara liked this.
Oh, wait, which one?
It was a tiny argument.
Mitch was like, I don't even know.
He doesn't even remember. I remember.
Is it the white?
Will you let me announce it so I can announce it?
Fine,
Damn.
Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
I just forgot.
How you spoil something before is like even on the show? Like you spoil on the show? Like
that's what a spoil. Oh no, okay, that's what yeah.
Anyways,
my fault.
We were talking about like white guilt and white fragility, and I'm like, that's the same thing. And Mitch is like, no. So
wait, Claire was also like, no. So
Claire was also like, no,
because
and I was
they are
like,
the same thing.
I would like to clarify. I wasn't like, no. I was confused. Like I was like, I thought they were different because of a reason.
I do have a reason.
No. What?
Well, we'll get there, Claire. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I was just asking. I was just begging the question.
No.
I was like, I thought this was what this was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No. Oh, no. Oh, okay.
She's saying don't lump me in with you, Mitch. So
I was just explain right now.
Lump me in with Mitch if I'm lumped in with Mitch, but if I'm not lumped in with Mitch, then don't lump me in with Mitch.
No, but I have a reason. Like they are different. There are different things, and I want to talk about it first specifically. Yeah. But well, Logan, if you're finished, I'll.
No, go ahead. No, I want you to go ahead.
No, so for me, and the reason I want to make the differentiation is just because I feel for us as Black people, one, it's something that I feel is good for you to understand when, you know, dealing with white people, because I don't feel if we really want to help in one sense, I don't feel we always have to like bulldoze a situation. And I feel, and there's also the other side where it's like, white people, I need you to understand the bullshit that you're fucking pulling. Because it's so to me. So we have white guilt because we know what guilts are. We know what fragility is. That's why I'm like, how would you say the same thing? So we have white guilt, which is going, oh man, I feel so horrible about what my potential ancestors may have done to all these other communities in America or wherever, shit, man, I feel horrible. White fragility is, oh man, I can't even talk about any of that guilt I feel because I feel so bad. And all of a sudden I feel like I'm going to break down and I can't even, I just can't even do, cause it's just so much for me to deal with. And Logan, you're like, yo, cause you go along the same path, but I need you to understand the difference. Cause when we're talking about white guilt, we're talking about what you would rightfully feel. We can't take that away from you. When we're talking about,
Sorry,
no, to me, when we're talking about fragility, we're talking about your inability to cope and deal with that guilt that you're feeling. Because we need you to get past that guilt.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, like as Mitchell, because I've been told a lot that I'm pretty okay at taking accountability. But I do still have the white guilt because obviously terrible things happened. And it's not because of my potential ancestors could have done it. It's because it happened and no one did anything about it. And I get angry that there wasn't a single white person that was strong enough to be like, hey, this is fucked up, and pushed for like change, So I don't feel fragile in my guilt. I'm not scared to talk about it because I think it's fucked up and I want to talk about it and I want to help people who I consider to be my friends, So
that's wonderful.
I didn't see how it was the same thing. What do you think?
No, that's exactly the reason. And that's why I'm telling Logan, but the thing about Logan, and I can't look at him and be like, I don't understand why you think that. Honestly, most people do. I make the differentiation because it's kind of just important to notice a difference because we're not going, because it's important to go, listen, I understand where you're coming from. Listen, I get it. But at the same time, the next step is to go, I get it, but I really need you to stop just crying about it. You shouldn't just be sitting here like, I don't know. Because most people, white fragility keeps most white people from even talking about the guilt they feel and trying to find solutions to these obvious problems in the first place. It's not the guilt that keeps them from doing that. It's the fragility that keeps them from doing that.
I feel like that's why I feel like white guilt and white fragility are the same thing. Like just what you just said right there.
Really? Why is that?
Because to me, I feel like white guilt is just like it just comes from white fragility in a way. So to me, they are kind of like not even like cousins. I feel like there's a direct line you can draw from one to the other.
Well, I think it would be reversed, but I see the point you're making.
Well, I say it's that way because to me, white fragility is kind of the reaction to how white people react to realizing their own whiteness. It's how white people usually react when they realize when their position in the world gets called out for what it is and for whether it's being used unfairly or how it's being used. So like when you're doing like a microaggression or something and somebody calls you out, like even if we can even change the subject from racism and do sexism instead. So it could be like not so on the nose about it. Is that like
what's wrong with it being on the nose?
Well, because then I don't want something to get lost in translation because but
you're translating to another.
Yeah, but for this subject.
Okay.
It's like when you hear like, okay, like when we say men are trash online, and then all of a sudden you hear all of these guys, all of a sudden you get a gaggle of men being like, well, I'm not trash. Well, my cousin Fred, he's not trash. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden, it's like, it's more of the reaction instead of listening to what the hurt party is saying. And so it kind of, in a way, it just sustains that hurt. It sustains whatever the person was speaking out against, and it kind of hardens that position, right? And so that's the same way white fragility acts, especially in the face of like white supremacy. Is like you call out white people from doing racist A, B, and C, and then all the white people you never called out or tagged or anything, all of a sudden they're the same ones who were doing the same action that you called out. They're all of a sudden like reacting that same way. The reason why I say white guilt comes from white fragility is that it's just another way that people act out their fragility to me is that nobody really said that you had to self-identify as the person that's doing A, B, or C, right? But your guilt has called you out, and then you react off of that, right? Your fragility has called you out, and then you react that way. You know what I mean?
Well, I get what you're saying, but I do disagree. Well, so the coming, I would say, in terms of how we're speaking on the subject, in terms of what white fragility means in this example, it comes from the guilt, because so you're saying it was the guilt comes from the fragility, you said, right?
I feel like the guilt comes from the fragility because I don't feel like, first of all, I don't feel like it's the reverse, because you have to feel guilty first. And to feel guilty means you have to feel at fault first. Whereas fragility is just the upending of your world. It doesn't necessarily mean you feel guilty. It just means you feel uncomfortable.
Well, so that's why I say it's it's funny you explain why I say it's reversed. Because it's not because I agree with what you said. It's like people feel like people's world is coming undone, and that's why they have the response. But it's because they can't handle it. For me, it's because they can't handle the guilt that they're feeling. You put the guilt in their face because they're going to feel the guilt regardless.
But that's what I have a problem with, is you're assuming their guilt. So that's why I say it's the other way around.
What if they are guilty?
Wait, you mean I'm assuming they
that
feel
can be fine,
guilty?
Claire. They can be guilty, but I feel like that's not the majority.
Wait, but Logan, are you saying I'm assuming they feel guilty, or I'm assuming they're guilty?
Yeah. Okay. No, you're assuming they feel guilty.
That's fair, Logan. I get what you're saying, but for this example, we would be talking about those who are experiencing what we commonly
because I said that those two aren't the same, and you guys were saying why they were.
I just didn't.
No, I was saying why they weren't.
No, you said they were the same. We said they were different.
Sorry, why they weren't. I just.
It's okay.
You know how I speak
like,
sometimes.
Not trying to put you down.
No,
I was like, I think you're wrong.
No. I just got my words mixed up, but yeah.
No, I get that,
good.
but so when. Oh,
you go ahead, Claire.
Sorry. I was just going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is hard for a different reason, mainly because like I don't know how to word it. Not that I'm scared.
Take your time, right? Right. If Logan gets to take his dumbass time,
I feel like there's two layers to white guilt. When you actually care, like when you're someone like myself who genuinely cares and wants to change and wants to learn and wants to help fix this. Right. Whatever this is, like I want to help, I want to be a part of it, but I also want to be appropriately a part of it in the sense that I'm not making decisions or stepping on anyone's toes,
Right.
So I feel like there's two levels of guilt. There's the guilt that we have that we didn't, like, white people didn't do shit, like I was talking about before, but there's also the guilt we feel when our privilege leads us to being ignorant, And that's why I see, like, one of them I can see where the fragility is a part of. But the other one, I feel like it's just them trying to be accountable and feeling guilty for stuff that they've done just based on privilege. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. So it's just my thing. So because I kind of agree with you in a sense on that, but I just think that you're still getting the fragility from the guilt, and they're still different, because it's like a person's going to feel the guilt regardless. And now, Logan, you brought up the fact that not everybody has to feel guilty. And now, like I'm saying, I'm specifically talking about people experiencing what we call white guilt, and the fragility and not being able to deal with it comes from not being able to accept
I think people confuse it, though. I think people,
that's what we're talking
with
about.
With emotions, they jump on things. Does that make sense? Like, I think,
could you elaborate a little bit more?
Enough. Well, I know enough, say Logan makes a post, he's calling out these specific white people for the specific thing that they've done in this time period that was racist or a microaggression or whatever. I ain't going to do anything about it because I know that I haven't done that. So I know that's not targeted at me. Like, I'm not being subtweeted at all, and I'm confident in that fact.
Right.
And I also know if it is like, if I do pick up on the subtweet and it's something that I have done, I will message Logan and be like, hey, is that directed at me? If so, I'm sorry, I didn't understand, yada, yada, yada. I address the problem privately and appropriately. And I think that people just don't have that level of, I'm not saying I'm the best or anything or I'm a great person or whatever, but I think people just don't have that level of like self-constraint where they're is this I don't know. I'm starting to realize, is this what you're talking about when it comes to like them feeling guilty for everything, like taking on everything and like sort of using it as like a defense, maybe?
Well,
I don't know. I'm still just trying to work it out.
Are you trying
I get it. It's
are
hard.
you asking me or Mitch?
Well, I think she was
anyone.
just asking about what I had an explanation because
Anyone who's listening, you might want to message the answer.
We could define it a
anyone.
little bit more just to get a sense of like understanding. When we're referring to the white guilt, it's just kind of that overarching sense of like, you know, guilt that white people tend to feel for certain crimes up to current date. And it's not for anything necessarily specific. It's just like, oh shit, I'm white. And in that similar sense, like Black Americans, where they're not entirely sure where they originally originate. They don't know who actually did what. They just know that the people who was doing that shit looked kind of like them, and they have privilege up to this time because of that. And it's I
think the way I'm talking about it is because I'm talking about it in the way I'm talking about it because you guys are talking about white guilt in a kind of positive manner and how it could kind of be constructive sometimes. But I don't believe that's the majority of the story, nor is that like I don't necessarily believe that's not my majority experience with
it's not your experience
guilt. Yeah,
but I'm also not talking about it in a positive manner because it's all negative.
No,
I don't mean to talk about it in a positive manner. I'm just I'm referencing myself a lot because that's my experience as a white person, and I am the positive side because I know that I'm trying. So maybe
you're not dealing with white fragility because you're able to accept, you know, what the truth is, and you're dealing. You have white guilt because you're a human being. People feel guilt. White guilt isn't actually different from any other sense of guilt. It's just here in America specifically, it exists for specific reasons. Yeah. And the fragility comes from when, unlike Claire, a white person is just like, I don't really know how to really feel about this. And it makes me feel horrible, and I'm therefore not going to do anything about it.
Why don't we actually define what we mean by when we say?
Well, I was doing that because I just did it for guilt. You didn't let me get to fragility.
No, what do you mean by guilt? Like, what do you mean?
I literally just.
I mean, because I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying like.
Do you want me to get more specific?
Because so many people when they hear white guilt, the thing that they mean is that they actually mean like this weird pseudo liberal thing that. Like maybe sometimes liberal white people do where they like plead a lot to be excused for like white people's crimes and stuff and not actually do anything for like their position in the world or whatever is going on.
It's all about them. It's all to make themselves feel better.
And so that's really that's the common use of white guilt that I'm trying to speak to. When you know what I'm saying, because we're on a
I get you. I hear you.
As a public forum and talking to
Actually, I'm glad you explained that. Actually, it's good that you said that. But I hear you. But no, we're talking in this sense guilty.
Like not that we can prove anybody.
Not that we can prove anybody's guilty, Logan. I know you laugh, but no, we're talking about guilt. We're talking about guilty, and I know where it's not like that guilt or guilty is going to make anyone do anything. But we still also know people specifically feel that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people advocating for certain things because, you know, we do like to call out the negatives. I don't think you need to necessarily
feel guilty about
Logan, and I agree with you. I honestly do agree with you. I think that's true.
But that's why I feel like it's a derivative of the fragility.
But no, it's not about me and you, though.
Well, because like,
did you just say I don't feel about? I hope you're not gonna say I don't feel white guilt because I'm like, why would you feel white guilt?
No, I was gonna say something else. I don't feel guilty about like crimes cisgender people or straight people do against gay people or non.
No, you're not fragile about it, Logan.
No,
you know that shit happens, but you yourself don't ever do that. And even if you do feel guilty that straight people do that, you're not the person to just sit down and shut down and pretend it doesn't happen. That's one of the basic points. That's just not who you are.
No,
but people like that
more
exist.
Than what I'm. Will you let me say what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, say what you say.
It's more than just not feeling guilty about or me not doing like some anti-gay shit. It's like my point in saying that was that like I don't feel guilty about things like that because
Logan, wait, before you
Mitch, he just takes me on a
Logan, wait. Before you continue, listen to what, and I'm gonna let you finish, but listen to what you said.
Okay,
because
Kanye.
you're like, I don't feel guilty, and I'm like, okay, that's good for you, Logan. But we're not talking about me, and we're not even talking about Claire in this example.
I was just trying to make a metaphor, or like
I know, but I was like, where are you going?
Because what I was trying to say was how unproductive white guilt can be sometimes, because it has nothing to. And I know what you're saying, Mitch, but what I'm saying is, I can't even remember what the hell it is I'm saying, because he interrupts me so much and I know he.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. You're right. I'm sorry.
You're a man filled with good points in your body. I get it.
No, but you're right. You're right.
Why you're here?
You're right. It's just sometimes I'm like, well, yeah, no. You're right. I do that too much.
Know what the hell I was talking about.
I have thousands of questions, but I need to wait until I get my answers.
God damn.
Trying to get you these, man. But no, I do apologize. Please.
All right.
Well, try to take your time, figure it out.
Go ahead, Claire, and I'll probably figure something out.
But I have questions. I don't want to ask
Go
more questions.
for it. Go ask a question. Ask a question.
I'll answer if I can. You know this.
No, you're done.
Yo, fuck you, bro. You dare. How dare you? We're done what I say. We're done.
Something I will touch on, just instead of asking a question, because I just thought of it then, was you guys know I'm not American.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. And because of that, sorry, I don't know.
I love her face when she said that. No, it seems like she was like taken aback by her own question.
She was like, why am I so stupid?
You guys know I'm not American, right? I'm like
trying to be talk showy and be like, you know how I'm this, and like, I feel like, but it came out so like literally dumb. It came out like so not professional or cute or anything, and you're just like, fuck me. I do this every time. Anyway, my point is, being Australian, I deal with, like, I don't deal with racism, but Australia deals with its own racism in its own right. And I was just thinking about it while you guys were talking, and I think that's why I wanted to know, because even though your experiences aren't anything to do, well, not anything to do, but like aren't the same as like an Aboriginal person's experiences or an Asian person's experiences, there's still that base level of like, I'm a white person and white people fuck people up like in history, you know, like, and I was just thinking about how someone was talking to me like a little while ago, and they were like, I know you hate the word person of color, but I don't know how else to say this. So they were a person of color, and they I'm talking to you, Mitchell. Yeah, you know how last time you were like, I hate that term. And I was like, I know, but I don't know what else to say.
I said I hate the term person of color?
You did.
Because we separate white people from the term person of color, which isn't actually true. I don't actually hate the term, though. I'm sorry for that confusion.
No, I just meant that they weren't white. I don't know what they were, because I didn't bother asking and it didn't matter to me.
Right.
If I had to guess, East Asian.
Okay.
Like, anyway, they weren't a white person, and they were like talking about my eyes, and they were like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so Aryan." And I was like, "Oh,
holy shit!
What does that mean?" Like, I was grossed out. And like, because in my head, you know how I know about like World War II and stuff. Aryan ain't a good thing. Like, that's not nice.
Like, quick side note.
Yeah.
Oh, no, finish. No. You go finish. I'll side note.
You're gonna interrupt me too. Yeah.
No, not for seriously. I'll just say it after. It's funny that you say that.
Well, for me, I don't like. That's where what I'm trying to get to is. I think that's a lot of where my guilt lies. I think not necessarily in World War II or anything like that, but I look the part, you know, of the quote unquote bad guy of the story, you know, and people, and I said to them, I can't remember what I said, but I said something along the lines of like, oh, that's, I was like, that shouldn't make me beautiful. Like, you're beautiful too. Like, I was trying to be like, no, I love you. I love your skin. Right. I love your eyes. I think your almond eyes are so beautiful. Like, I'm just going off on this really orky tangent of how pretty her almond, like, brown eyes were. To the point where, like, my lesbianism was showing, like, a lot. And she was getting a little uncomfortable.
She was like,
it came from such a genuine place of, like, no, don't think this is what the standard should be. No, fuck this guy. Like, nah, you're beautiful. Like, I was like trying to just.
She's gonna fuck her way out of her white guilt. Like, it's just like.
Literally, though, I was like just showering her, and I was like, "And your hair's so sleek and black, and oh, I just love it." Like, I was like going off at this girl, and she was standing there, and she was like blushing, and she was like, "Oh, thanks." Like, but you know me, I make things so much more intense with my good intentions,
right.
like, or worse with my good intentions. All good.
When you say like, I think that's what I was trying to say earlier. When you say like you looked the part, is that like I'm like being a straight person, right? Doesn't make me feel like
I know, but
I don't. Yeah, I don't feel obligated.
Like,
I don't feel
because you're straight.
Yeah,
you
exactly. And I don't.
Wait, Logan, what's this in reference to, bro? What was this?
Shut up. That's what it's in reference to. Shut up, Mitch, so I don't lose it again.
Okay. All right. Well,
he did it twice in a row.
No,
You're
I'm sorry.
a monster.
I'm sorry. Don't lose it. And you guys are evil. Shut up. Anyway,
fucking Lex Luthor over here. It's like, you know what the weird part is? He apologized and everything, and then did the same shit less than 5 minutes ago.
All right, that did happen.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
What I was saying, because Claire brings up, looking the part, and that's what I was kind of thinking when I was trying to say the last time was that I get that like white people has this thing where they kind of, like it's very possible like your ancestors did some horrible shit to some brown people, right?
Yeah.
It's like more than possible, but like, let's
not get into that.
I feel like white guilt is such a part of white supremacy, and it is kind of a defensive thing because of the fact that just like the whole white privilege thing, and this is what I'll use the metaphor for, since Mitch is always going to interrupt me when I bring up like other stuff, is that
stay focused.
is that oh yeah, white privilege. Sorry. Is that when we're talking about like, I hate when white people say that like, oh, you should, or really when anybody says really, it's because I really hear more black people or brown people say that white people should use their privilege for good and not evil. And I'm just like, nope, that's not how that works. Because this is why I say that. You can't use white supremacy for good. Like, it's just like, you can't.
I don't even want to talk about this anymore.
You can't.
Real shit. But like, I can't believe you said it like that, bro. You can't,
like, that's where
you
white
can't use white supremacy for good.
That's what white privilege is.
Let's not deny that. It's true. You can't use it for good.
So it's so to me, it's like when you talk about white guilt, it's just another subset of that. Like, it's just another piece of that. Like when we're talking about white fragility or white guilt or white privilege, these are all just little bits and pieces, little pillars that like hold up white supremacy, right? In their own little way, like white guilt just like exempts you from the problem. White fragility just like makes you defensive and makes you like come up with really good arguments about why this shit isn't your fault. Like, and white privilege just like cements you in your own comfort. So it's like all of these little things are all just like we're talking about white supremacy every time we say these things, and then we're like trying to turn into little tiny pieces, and then why this thing does this and why this thing does that, and it's just like it's all racism. It's all just fucked. You know what I mean? And like you shouldn't like.
Logan, I get you, but that's too simplistic.
Mitch is right that you shouldn't. Mitch is right that you shouldn't feel guilty and you shouldn't dive into that feeling, because at the end of the day,
whoa, what? I never said that.
No, you were saying something like how like white guilt just isn't.
No,
helpful.
it's just why you feel guilty. But like if you feel guilty, you're gonna feel guilty regardless.
Yeah, I get that, but like I even don't like when like white people feel guilty about racism and shit, because a lot of the time they want to feel racist, like they want to feel guilty about racism that they didn't commit, but they saw other white people commit. But I very rarely see white people actually feel guilty about the shit that they do. because as soon as you actually say, hey, this is the white fucked up shit you do, now they got defensive. Right. And so like when we're talking, so like when we're talking about when we're talking about like white guilt and everything, it's like you're just like trying to be exempt from the problem. And if you do feel guilty, you probably should like actually do something about it. Like, and I don't think that that's necessarily white guilt. I think that's just like accountability when somebody is like actually like intent on like rectifying whatever they did that was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Logan, it's so funny. It's
because I don't want to call. Listen, this is what I mean.
Wait, hold on, Logan. Let
me define before you go. What I don't want to end up doing.
Fuck you, Mitchell. You got him going.
What I don't want to end up
doing. I'm kidding. You're okay. No, I know. Wait. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. I'm not. I don't take it serious.
Wait, what I don't want to end up doing is calling guilt, like the actual guilt emotion, the actual real emotion of guilt, white guilt. Like that's what I don't want.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
We'd never do that, Logan. We didn't do that this entire time.
I know, but
what do you want?
Well,
in like your ideal.
Because I get feeling guilty. I get feeling guilty about.
Oh, that's a good one, Claire. Thank you, actually, for going along that path. Well, here you didn't catch it the first time. You asshole! Interrupting Claire.
I wanted to
not letting her finish.
No, I wanted to hear why
she had her thoughts together, bro.
I wanted to hear why you thought it was a good one, even though you were the one that interrupted her thoughts just then. So go ahead.
Just go. Oh, that's my question.
Just go. No, because what Claire said I think the path she was about to bring you along, I think would help in terms of like trying to work through things.
So this is to Logan. So I already sort of know where Mitchell stands.
She's like, okay. Okay, go Claire.
In your ideal, how do you want white people to act? How would you
to react to like racism and stuff?
Act, like act and react. And I clarify that because, some things do need to be acted upon and then some things need an appropriate reaction. So what would be the appropriate action and reaction in your ideal?
I think the appropriate reaction, this is our producer here, Apollo, the podcast cat. I think the appropriate reaction is, I think self-introspection is like the appropriate reaction. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop looking so much at what other people are doing and stop centering yourself always as the standard of whether or not justice is being attained or not. Because like I feel like a lot of the time in a lot of spaces, especially like social justice type spaces, here come white people and then we have to cater to whatever it is they're feeling in the moment. You know what I mean? We have to cater to whatever they feel is the important issue or whatever they feel is the topic of the day. And then we're not supposed to call that racism too. You know what I mean? Like you can't have equality where one person is the most important person in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah.
No, yeah.
So it's just like when you guys ask me like, what do I want? I want you to like just take a step back. I want people to just take a step back for a second. And that's in any space from where you are the dominant party. If you're a man in a female space, you should like calm the fuck down. Like if you're a straight cis person and like in a queer space, you should calm the fuck down. Like if you're a white person in a person of color space, you should calm down because everything's just not about you. It's just not about you. And what white supremacy has done for the past like 1,000 years or so is like tell white people that everything is about you. And I get that that's a big hurdle to overcome, like learning that like everything isn't about you. But like at the same time, you ask me what you can do. And so, that's what you can do. You can just calm down and like realize that some shit isn't about you. Sometimes you really just going to have to let some shit fly.
It's so funny because... Oh, could I just say what I was going to say real quick?
Yeah, of course, man. You're okay.
I was just gonna say, Logan, it's you bring this all up, but I brought up white guilt and white fragility to get to the point of saying you're supposed to, because you're gonna feel guilty if you feel guilty regardless. The point is you don't get to feel fragile because you need to back up take introspection and look at yourself. White people don't do that because of white fragility. It's just funny that
I guess what I'm saying is I don't even want you to feel guilty because like the guilt doesn't do anything.
But so you
it's
just
the same thing.
So let me get this straight. You want human beings to act entirely like human beings have acted this entire history and just feel nothing, yet somehow solve the solutions without feeling anything.
That's what I was trying to say earlier about the straight and gay thing, though, was that I don't feel guilty about crimes committed against non-cisgendered people or whatever. I feel fucking angry about them. Like I feel impassioned about them. Mm-hmm. Like I want to do something about them, but it's not about me. So like, what am I feeling guilty about?
Mm-hmm. You
understand
anything.
What I'm saying? Like you feel guilty about your ancestors doing something, but they're your ancestors. And that's why you feel guilty. Mm. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel guilty about that stuff. If my dad or my uncle or somebody beat up like a trans woman in the street, fuck him. And I would like go beat him up or something. Well, you know what I mean?
You couldn't. Well, I guess you could beat him up. If I say you couldn't kill him. Because then you take yourself out the timeline. If you killed him, you take yourself. Yo, fuck that dude. Oh shit. Oh shit.
But I'm saying like okay, like all right. Even with that example, right? And it is somebody you know in your family or whatever, right? That's your family. That's your problem. Why am I bringing that to you about that? Right? Why am I bringing
Logan,
this is what I mean? Guilt, listen, Mitch. Like. If a white person, if a white person had like they knew their great granddaddy owned slaves or something, why are you bringing that to me? That's not my problem. Why are you bringing that to me? What are you telling me about that shit for? You know what I mean? Keep that in your heart. Keep it pushing. Okay, Logan, I don't need to know about it. This shit's not relevant to me. It's not relevant to my day. It's not relevant to anything that's going on with my black ass life right now. So it's like you bringing that up to me and being like, oh, like I feel bad because like we own this estate and everything. Well, sell this fucking estate and leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. It's like your guilt is not beneficial to me. Your guilt doesn't mean anything really, and it doesn't come from anywhere but you. So it's not helpful. It's only coming from like white supremacy in the first place. So yeah, that's what I mean. I don't want to feel guilty because it's not coming from anywhere that's actually constructive. It's not doing anything constructive and it's not doing anything for anybody. And I think that's why they get turned into a meme. I think that's why people get turned into a meme for having white guilt in the first place, is that it's so ineffective that even other white people make fun of white people for having white guilt. You know what I mean?
I think it's really important you're saying all this because Ben says he doesn't have white guilt, and I always struggled with that because I was like, what does that mean? Like, I never got it. I think he is coming from your point of view because he's like, I didn't do that. He's like, I do care. Like, he's not racist at all. He doesn't, like, he cares. He honestly cares more than I do half the time about stuff. You know, that goes.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, he's literally just like, I'm not going to feel racist. And he's friggin' English. And he's like, I'm not taking account of, he's like, I wasn't there. I didn't do that. And I would never do that to a human being.
Right.
And he goes as far as to say, he's like, if I could go back in time, I would like do something. Like, I'm like, okay.
Right.
Like, you do you, babe. But I just let him have that fantasy of freeing the slaves. Like, good, like, go. Like, it's sweet. Let him have it. You know?
Let him have that fantasy of freeing the slaves.
John Brown. Like,
he would go as far as like, he'd be like, I'd hide them in a boat and take them back to like Africa. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, let me know how that goes. Be safe. I hope you make it back.
Yeah, you can kill Hitler while you're at it. Like,
no, well, you see, the thing is, but that isn't a. I'm only getting confused now, especially with the last few things Logan just said, because it's like that isn't the point, because it isn't to bring up the concept of white guilt and fragility to go like, hey, good job, man. I'm glad you know that you're guilty. I bring it up because, like you say, it's fucking annoying. Mm-hmm. And like we need to on both sides know how to navigate that shit. I get why you feel guilt. now do something about it. I bring up the fragility because the fragility is usually what keeps you from doing something about it.
Right.
And you don't get to, if you want to feel guilty, okay, you don't get to sit there and be fragile. If you want to feel guilty, okay, fine, I don't care. That's your feelings. You get to feel how you can feel. Claire said, in one sense, I do feel what I'm talking about. She's like,
no, I agree with you, Mitch.
That's awesome. That's great. But it's like, so it's just, I was confused because it's like,
no, Mitch, I completely agree with you. But what I'm saying is keep that shit to yourself. And that's what I don't like is that white guilt is not just like an internal manifestation. It's an external thing that everybody must know about your white guilt. Everybody must deal and cater to your white guilt. Like everybody
that's what I don't
else
care about.
Yeah, everybody else has to deal with this thing that you're going through about racism.
No, those are just fragile fucking motherfuckers pretending to care.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, okay, no. I get it's just your last few. I was like, wait, I don't understand.
No, that's all I've been saying this whole time.
Understand, but no, I didn't even do that. No, but I'm glad we had the discussion now too. So fuck you, Logan, because I'm a master at this shit. But but no, I bring it up just to say, like, yo, listen, white people, whether you're guilty or not, you have a responsibility like the rest of us by you. And I want to bring that up.
Thank you.
Like the rest of us, because it's not that you're special. It's not, it's all on you. It's just you have responsibility, like the rest of us, to get off your ass, not be fragile, and be willing to put some work in.
It's just accountability for stuff. You know what I mean?
And actual growth takes being uncomfortable.
This is the other thing.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. As we were saying last week, don't be scared to be uncomfy. No one gives a shit about you.
This is the other thing.
Sorry.
There's plenty of white people that just sit on the sidelines. You know what I mean? And don't do shit.
True.
Right?
Absolutely true.
So it's like, I didn't ask you to be the Martin Luther King Jr. of white people. Like, I didn't ask you to do shit. I didn't ask you to make a speech, charities. Do charity or whatever. Like, you don't have to, if you don't feel like you got to care about this racism shit and you can just go with your little white people life and, have your brunch or whatever, go do that. Live free. I feel like Bane, do whatever you want. I give it back to you. I give it back to you. Just go do what you want to do. You're going to do that anyway.
Yo.
Stop putting a bow on a piece of shit.
Yes. Come on. Why are you coming to bother my little black ass about it?
No, yeah, I do get that. And that's just unacceptable because your guilt, listen, no one's here to cry you a pity party. Hey, I just feel so bad about what my people did to yours, and it's just like,
I'd punch you in the face. Leave me alone.
I can't, is there anything I could do, but never actually does anything?
That'll be I'm the wrong one because I'm going to tell you, you know what? You should stand there and let me hit you in the face. I think my ancestors would like it. Are you going to let me do it?
The fact is they would. They'd respect both you and the white person. Be like, oh, damn, he just let him. He took a full fist. All right, we going to chalk one off for them. Good job, Logan. Good on you, boy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. Yo, Kwame just got a halo, my nigga. Hey.
My answers be like,
yo, my nigga Kwame just got a halo. Okay.
My answers.
Hey, yo, Logan, get more of them, let you hit him like that. It don't mean much, but it feel good.
Mitch,
it feel like.
Mitch, my ancestors be like, I didn't know where he was going with this whole podcast shit, but when he had got that white person to let him hit him.
I knew we were someplace.
I see it. I see the vision. I see the vision.
Hey, I'll get on this ship. I'll get on this ship. Chains and all. Oh no, that one was bad. Shit,
that boy's got it. That boy's got it now.
That one was bad. Maybe leave that one out. But I only bring it up to say, get off your ass and do something about it. If you do feel the guilt, and if you are going through a fragile stage, all right, cool. Real growth takes being uncomfortable. Get off your ass and actually do something.
No, for real.
For real. Join the rest of the team. We've been waiting on you all fucking lifetime.
I know you got to go, but do you have time for Marsha P. Johnson?
No.
Damn.
We know I'm going to be here till 11. Okay. I do got to run, but between you and Claire, for that specifically, I know y'all got that.
All right. So everybody, Mitch has got to go. And thank you, Mitch, for coming.
As always, of course.
Gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, I know. Do you have anything you would like to...
Claire. You know it's coming.
Wait, hold on. Let him...
Hold on. I just want to color me and Claire.
me and Claire have that relationship, that a Game of Thrones relationship with Emilia Clarke, where it's always that one sassy person to the other sassy person, and it's Danny's face being like, and the other person's like, and Claire's like, and I'm like, and she's like, and I'm like, and I just fucking love it. But no, the last thing I just want to leave the people with, because we had some good subjects here. You know, don't be ashamed. Your body is your body. Learn to love it, regardless of what anybody else thinks. White people, we sick and tired of your shit, and all we want you to do is just be great, like everybody else is capable of doing. There isn't actually a term white. You're also a person of color. You just a little bit paler skinned than most. And then finally,
I'm pink. That's our color. Suck it
up. All right, say bye to the people, Mitch.
I did. Goodbye.
All right. See you, man.
All right. Peace and love, y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon.
You have a good one.
Love you.
Love you too. I'll check y'all later.
Oh, he's still here. I was like, oh.
I am. But I'm going off now.
You didn't even see my sad face, but you know it's there.
Oh, my God. Okay. That was a long one.
It was. No, I was happy with that, though, because I liked the discussion.
No, I do, too. I think it is important to, like, get through that.
I just want to learn. I don't know if it's because of who I grew up with or where I came from, but as soon as like I worked out shit was going down, I was like, I want to learn and I want to be on the right side. How do I do that? Someone guide me. No one's gonna guide me. All right, I'll work it out myself.
But I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I think that's okay. I think we're supposed to want to learn. I don't think we're supposed to like burden each other about like our struggle with learning, or not even really our struggle with learning, but just like trying to like vocalize to somebody that you know. It's just like
something my mom said to me was she had a friend who was an Aboriginal, and she said to me, she said, if you ever want to learn about racism or whatever, do it yourself, because they've already got enough on their plate and it shouldn't be their burden to teach you. And she said this to me like long before the PC days. She said this to me when I was like, my mom was so ahead of everything. She was the best. And she said this to me before, like when I was like 14, she's like, don't put that on them. If you genuinely want to be there for them, you know, friendship's about supporting each other. And then she used like these examples about like if you had a friend whose dad was abusive, or you ever had a friend who was going through something, you know, you wouldn't want to be like, teach me about this horrible thing. You're like, you wouldn't put that on them. You wouldn't make them go through that trauma so you could learn, because that's selfish. And so because of that, I've always tried to like stumble through myself. I'm like a toddler just rampaging through racism. But
what privilege would that be to like, you say you're sorry about the exploitation of Black people, and then you're like, hey, Black person, would you like to exploit you? Can I exploit you? Would you like to teach me something for free? Like, you wouldn't? How dare you? Like, you know? Yeah. Anyways, something like I've been having trouble with Karens lately.
Oh, yeah.
Since we're on the subject. No, because I have been having trouble with Karens from where I work. And the trouble I've been having is just like people just being rude, like really rude, and like for no reason. Because like at work, I'm very, very nice. I'm not like this at all at work. And so no, like I give like really good customer service. I'm like I try my best, you know, to like be like, you know, really nice and to like, you know, dollar. Yeah. I even try to like be like, oh, the customer is right, and you know, give people what they want and things like that. But sometimes people just like ask for shit for free, and I'm just like, listen, I can't just like give you the store, you know what I mean? And like I had a run-in with a Karen lately, and it was really, really bad. It was just really bad. It was stupid, right? And literally we had to give her something for free. And like she was so like mean and like abusive to me before I even really could say anything. All I told her was what the price of something was going to be, and she flipped out. Like she just flipped out. And then we ended up giving it to her for free anyways. And I was just like, I was reeling from it, not because like we had to give it for free, but because like
got abused.
Yeah, and like nobody like cared, nobody stood up for me. Yeah, nobody validated that. Even after it was over, nobody said anything about it. And it's just like I was like, wow, that's really like, it was just a fucked up situation. Nobody came back, said anything. Right. And so it just got me thinking, right? Because I know a lot of us peons out there, we're all working dead end jobs and shit. And we're not, we're trying to make the paper and we're making the best of it. But like, I feel like these corporations and these companies, since they don't really give a shit about us, but they do want us to make that money, I feel like they underestimate us because like we are the collective and we are greater than, one or the other, and it just makes me think that like we should have like a system. Like if you're like in like customer service or like you're in like some type of like retail position or even like, like a restaurant position, right? We should all band together and what we should do is we should get like these little cards or like even bring like little pieces of paper that we can write on. Right. And what we should write on them is basically hi. You got to start with hi, right? Mm-hmm. Basically like hi. Hello, fellow. No, it'll sound like this.
Radio.
Like, listen, it goes, hello. Yeah. It goes, hello, fellow worker. This is what it's going to say. Hello, fellow worker. I too am a fellow worker, and I understand the struggle is hard. This is a long note.
It's like an essay, like one of those scrolls you pull out.
But I just thought right now I'm trying to get some free shit, so I'm about to wild the fuck out. And if you're really cool about it, I'll get some free shit for you too. Like that's what the card should say. Like it should say it in a shorter version because I'm long-winded, but it should say it. I don't know if any of you have read the bio of the show. It's really long and I'm going to cut it short and I'm sorry. But that's what it should say. And like you should hand that, you should like take the little card, right? And you should hand it to the person on the counter and they should read it. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like this person knows how things work around here. And they're really just going to like flip out so they can get some free shit. And then you should be like, and then how this is what would work is like, well, Logan, if you're behind the counter, how are you going to get free shit too? Let me tell you, my friend. So I do my tantrum or whatever while Claire is behind the counter. And I'd be like, this is a travesty. How dare this thing cost $30? How dare you spend like all your time against the customer and all this and that. I'm going to write a letter. Where's your manager? Where's your manager's manager? I'm going to write a letter to the president. I'm going to write a letter to the CEO, and I do all my little Karen shit. And then they try to calm me down. I just be completely irrational. And then they finally give me whatever free shit they want. And so at this point, managers sometimes like to walk away. And so even after like this situation is handled, like they still walk away for some weird reason. And then at that point, Claire behind the counter be like, you know what? I'm really sorry you had to go through all of this, just, for perpetuity. She goes, I'm really sorry you had to go through all this. Would you like, what's something free you would like, Claire?
I don't know.
Let's say,
you know what? Like this is a bit of an inside joke, so I don't think.
Let's say I work at let's not say I work at Walmart because I don't, but like let's say a store that's like Walmart that has anything in it that you just buy. Like what would you like?
I don't know, like this pair of pants.
Yes, you should be like
that's like a female size
yes 14. Exactly right. You should be like, what size is it?
Size 14.
Okay, cool.
Just be like even though you're this tiny ass.
Like, listen, I'm very sorry you had to go through all this today, sir. Would you also like this pair of size 14 pants?
Woman's pants.
And then as the person is throwing the tantrum, you say, yes, I would. That would make me feel better and I wouldn't write a letter to the company. And then she also puts in the bag the pair of pants. And then when her boss asks, she just says, well, they wanted these pants too, and I'm sorry, because nobody's gonna fire you apparently for just giving away the store. So what you should do is you should give everybody who works in retail should learn how to become a Karen. We should all become undercover Karens. That's what we should do. We should become undercover Karens and literally rob these stores blind. That's what we should do. And then, well, what happens to the pants? Because she's still on her shift. And Claire could do one of two things. She could let the guy know, just leave him in the parking lot, wherever, in the bushes or whatever, and I'll find them later. Or she can call over to her manager and just be like, start crying and be like, I need 5 minutes, and go outside and get her fucking pants and put it in her car. Like, either one works. And that, that's what we should do now. I feel like that if that's gonna be where we are as a society, where like you can just walk into any store you want, yell a bunch, and then like they're gonna give you free shit no matter how much you abuse the workers. Like the workers should get something out of it now. We should all get something out of it, shouldn't we? Mm-hmm. Anyway, that was my way of lightening the mood and like hoping somebody does that.
I mean, if you put it out in the world, like
I don't know if that's legal, so I'm obligated to tell you that if you do get in trouble for doing some bullshit like that, I did not tell you to do that. Like, I'm not serious, and this is just a podcast, and please don't do it. Disclaimer: this is jackass. Like,
wink.
Yeah. Do not try this at home. That's what we're supposed to say. Don't try that at home.
Yeah, that's jackass.
Yes. See, now we're covered legally, and we can still fuck the system.
I hate jackass.
Huh? Oh yeah,
I don't know how much I hate jackass.
Yeah. Let's not
Ben
do
loved it. And like the amount of times I've woken up like after drinking or something, and Ben and his little stupid ass friends are just watching some guy shit on a car, and I'm like, for fuck, this is not what I need right now. I'm so hungover as shit. Like just getting up and be like, I feel so sick.
MTV used to be like so wild, and like after the 90s, like it's just like
I know. We just went, oh my god, we were talking about that the other day actually, about how the 2000s was just like trash. Like we were just wild out like, as a society for a good 5 years. Like it was a good 5 years, and then we calmed down again. But for like 5
because nobody knew what to do. I think like everybody was just trying anything, and it was like the 90s had ended.
The clothes, the act, like the idols, like everything just went to shit.
Yeah, it was like a bad time.
5 years.
What were we doing?
I don't know.
You know what? I don't blame us at all. It was, it's you boomers. Like y'all ran the early 2000s. So what were y'all doing? It's not our fault. Yeah.
Wasn't that when was Bill Clinton 90s or was he later?
Yeah, Bill Clinton was in the 90s, and that was when Bush was president. So just another thing they did. Like,
that's
what I mean?
That's confusing. That doesn't make sense.
It's just as bad as Trump becoming president. You know what I mean?
Oh, that was awful.
That was awful.
How are you guys recovering from that?
You know what's weird about that? I was just gonna say something about that. You know what's weird about Trump becoming president or like losing the presidency? That wasn't that long ago. Like it feels real long ago.
Middle of last year, end of last year.
No,
didn't he become into power?
Left office. No, he left office in January, so it's only been like 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Does it feel like a massive difference? Like politically,
it feels like.
Like obviously,
here's the thing: Biden and Trump are so different because Biden doesn't ever like talk to people. Like he doesn't ever like have like
come out and
like he doesn't come out. He doesn't tweet. So you don't really know what he's doing.
Nice
and then when you check up on when you check up on what he's doing, it's like, oh, he's working. I should probably not disturb this person.
Sorry, just the way you said that was like, oh, cool. Like that's not what they should have been doing. And
it's fucked up because like at one point you should pay attention to what your president is doing, and he could be doing some fuck shit. It's just I wouldn't know because like I don't check up on him because he doesn't say anything. So it's like he's like the really good kid that like or like he's like the okay kid that's sat next to the horrible kid. So is he doing his work all the time? Probably not. But the times you check on him, he's doing his work. So there's that.
How do you guys like? I found something out the other day that I'm pretty sure you guys knew long before I did, but I found it out the other day. He is super old.
Oh yeah, he's super old.
Crazy
he says
old.
that like he's only going to do one term though.
Oh, okay.
But him and Trump are nearly the same age. So Trump was like really like Trump thinks he's going to run again in 4 years. Yeah, like that's a thing. That's a real thing. And he's like out there doing rallies and shit. And people say he looks like he's got dementia, but you know, it's not like they won't vote for
People say shit like that all the time.
They'll say they think he's got dementia or whatever, but it's like you guys will still vote for him. Like you voted for him the first time, and he didn't know. Like the only reason you bring, I know the only reason you bring up that somebody has dementia is because you don't think they can do the job that you said. But like if you didn't think he couldn't do the job the first time around, you still voted for him. Then what's the point in saying dementia? Like that's why people voted for it. I just hated that last 4 years because like it was full of liberal people just not understanding the assignment. Like, it was like they were like this person's so horrible. This person's so racist. How could you? And it's like that was the thing that people wanted. Like that was the thing that people voted for him for. You guys aren't understanding that that's not, you know, the point that you like. It was a lot like the last 4 years of Trump was a lot of like white people trying to like convince other white people not to be racist and finding out that white people don't care about racism. And like every black person and like person of color or whatever was just like, yeah, we told you. It's like, sorry. I don't know what you expected.
I just find it so crazy. Like we've talked about this so much, but how people could just forget that there were children in camps. People could just, and adults, but like specifically the children. People just forgot that that's like, it was all just like a bit where it was like, oh, rally, 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 rah, rah, rah. But then as soon as something else would happen, they just drop it like a hotcake. That's what I learned about America.
Part of the thing
like,
was
shit.
Part of the thing was people didn't like forget that kids were in camps. Some of those people wanted those kids to be in camps. You know what I mean?
That's a fair point. I meant more on like the liberal side. like I know you didn't forget.
Oh, you mean like after the election and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like, Trump's gone now. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's like,
nah, it doesn't work.
There is a tsunami of shit that Biden has to clean up, and he's only done like the top layer. Like,
yeah, it's not. Yeah. I think, anyway.
Sorry.
You know what? Let's talk about Marsha P. Johnson because I gotta get better at segues. By the way, like that was a trash one.
Yeah.
No, but Marsha P. Johnson. We've been wanting to talk about her for the last couple of weeks, and this is at least for this podcast, like probably the last week of Pride because like I take so long to edit. I know, I'm sorry, but like. I've been wanting to talk about Marsha P. Johnson on the show, especially because that's where a lot of the roots of Pride came from because like the first Pride was held in the anniversary of Stonewall, you know?
Yep.
And I know everybody's probably talked about it till they're blue in the face, and it's not even just so like the podcast can talk about it. It's just that I felt like it's good history. You know what I mean? And I have been doing a lot of research and watching a lot of documentaries and things about it, and from what I gleaned about it is like there are multiple stories that say that like either that she did throw the first thing at Stonewall or she didn't, or that like she came to the riot late and then she did throw something anyways. And I really don't know if any of that is the important part of the story.
It's not relevant.
Because for whatever reason, history has picked her as like the poster child of Stonewall, right? And then we can't even find the other person. Like if she wasn't the person that threw the shot glass or brick or whatever you want to call it at Stonewall, the person that they said did it, they can't find that person either. So to me, you can flame me as much as you want for this. Like to me, that makes her the first person because if we can't, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's kind of like Greek mythology a little bit. You know, it's like if this is how the story's gone, this is how the story is, and if the person that really did it you can't find, then there's no real harm in like her being that person, especially when like she wasn't like a horrible person anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
honestly, she was probably better than the original. I don't know that for sure. I shouldn't say that, but like,
don't do that. Well, like what I was
for all we know.
Yeah, what I mean is like you think so little of people, Claire. Why?
Gee, I wonder.
No, what I was saying is that today is like that for me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just like losing my train of thought all over the place. But no, what I was saying is that I've been enjoying like actually learning about her, you know? Because I've been like my life is so busy, but like any free time I had, I've been trying to learn about Marsha P. Johnson. And I've actually been like really enjoying learning about her though, because she's like demythologized, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, demythed. And she kind of like becomes more of a person the more you learn about her. And like I like anybody else, but it's just like something I like knowing like the actual people behind an event, and I like actually seeing like what makes somebody into that person, you know? And like she like whenever I would watch like little clips of her and stuff, like or her like her friends remembering her, like they all cried about her. They all talked about her in like this way that like, you know, this is this person that they just like all loved. And like she was this person that like really took care of other people. Like that was her thing. And then like she would be at like drag shows and stuff. Cause maybe we should say that like this is Marsha P. Johnson was a black trans woman. Right. I'm talking like the audience knows, but Marsha P. Johnson was a black trans woman. Right. And at that time, which, you know, it's not like it's any better for black trans women now, but especially back then, what would happen is like, if you were black and trans, you could just like get picked up right off the street just for being black and trans. Like the cops could just pick you up at any time, beat you up in like, the wagon and shit, and then like take you to jail. And like there like it was such a thing that like when they took you to jail, like there was a whole like section and row of the jail that was just like for trans people that they would just like dump you off in. And so like what Marsha P. Johnson would do is, because she lived in Jersey, she would get off the train, you know, from Jersey to like Manhattan. Like she would go to East Village or whatever. And she would get off the train like as Marcus, which was, I guess you would say like her dead name, you know, because like I don't know if you would say it's her dead name because like she did both personalities, I guess, you know, but we can call it for the sake of it her dead name because it's not the name she wanted. You know what I mean? So she would get off the train as Marcus. Like she wouldn't dress up, but then like she would get on the train that way and she wouldn't dress up. But then like when she got to New York, she would dress up and she would be Marsha. Right. And one of the facts I learned about like that era was that during that time, there was a lot of gay bars in like, I guess, East Village or Greenwich Village. Somebody's gonna kill me because I don't know like New York geography. I don't know New York. Goddamn, I'm from Florida. Anyways, she would
I don't know New York either.
She would get off there, and like one of the cool things I learned, well, not really the coolest, but like a lot of the gay bars back then were owned by the mob. Because like the mob was like this was like a racket that the mob had, that they was just like, you know, they could make a lot of quiet money this way, you know, because nobody's really looking at their gay bars and stuff, you know. But the other problem was that a lot of the time like gay bars would get raided a lot, you know. And so like they would just get raided because like they just had a bunch of gay people just having a party, you know what I mean? And so
whatever reason,
this, because it was such a common thing and because it like the harassment was so high, and this was back during like the 70s and the 60s where like
I thought it was 69.
It could have, that's what I mean, like it's like it's like
it was an ongoing thing though.
It's like in between that time period there, and it's like there was all this turmoil during that time period. And so like what ended up happening is Marsha or somebody else like actually threw like a shot glass or a brick through a mirror, right? And it started like a riot in the middle of like a raid, basically, like a police raid, in which they were trying to tell people that they were trying to be like, listen, you can't fuck with us anymore. We just can't come down here whenever you want, pick up a bunch of us off the street and just fuck with us whenever you want. To add more context, this is around the time that like if you were trans, like you could just like get kicked out of your building. Like if you rented or like you rented a place, like your landlord could just like come down, kick you out of your house, and then like now you're homeless. And so that brings me to like Sylvia Rivera, which was Marsha's friend at the time, who ended up being a trans woman that did end up getting kicked out of her own apartment because of being an out trans person, you know,
because of friggin' phobia.
Claire, can you jump in? I feel like I'm the cis boy, the cis straight boy, just like pontificating. And maybe it's not the best, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, but I just feel like.
First of all, I think your fountain of knowledge is wonderful. I think that's, if any cis straight boy should be talking about it, it's one that should have knowledge.
Okay.
And second of all, you pretty much are covering it. I think we shouldn't go in too deep to like the whole like life story thing of it, not because it's not important, but because we'll be here all freaking day. But basically, just to wrap it up a little bit, Sylvia Rivera and I feel
Marsha P. Johnson.
Yeah, that's her name, Marsha P. Johnson. They did a lot for women and trans women and everything ongoing. They ran homeless shelters for trans people, didn't they? Specifically because of what happened to Sylvia. They led a lot of the rallies, and they were always a part of Pride. They did a lot together. They were very tightly close and really good friends. And they're icons. I love them. I think they were the type of people I've always wanted to be, which were strong and resilient and independent and unapologetically themselves. And I think that is the most beautiful thing about it. And I think that's the essence of Pride, is being strong, resilient, and unapologetically yourself. So
I think maybe I'll go back and I'll add in a clip of like Marsha P. Johnson singing, because when you said like always being herself, I think I watched this one documentary where the person was like, she was at a drag show and the person was like, she just couldn't sing a lick. And like, and when you like
did not give a fuck though.
Yeah, when you see her singing, like she is horrible. Like she can't sing at all, Claire. This girl is like, it's like she's destroying the song. And wait, the best part was that like the whole time she's singing, she has like the biggest smile on her face.
That's the point.
And it's just like it's like the funnest thing, you know? And so like I'm watching this thing and it's just kind of like, I don't know. I felt like this is why I took so long wanting to talk about this topic, though, because like I watched that thing and then like I was thinking about it because I was almost going to talk about it last week. And then I watched that and I was like, I can't just talk about Stonewall. I can't just talk about, you know, here's this thing and this person did that and this, you know, she threw this and then now we're talking about Pride and all this.
Well, everyone always talks about that. That's like, not saying that should diminish it because that's where it began. That's its origins. That's important. Right. But coming into the end of Pride, you know, and I think the other point is if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't want to know at this point in time. But I think we should talk about...
not necessarily, because it's not like something that they like teach in school or anything. You know what I mean?
No, but you can find that. I'm a believer that you can source information. Look at me. I'm Googling every goddamn day. I know shit just from Google.
That's the great thing about having a platform, you know, because we become the source.
I mean, we can talk about it if you want to talk about it.
Well, I didn't want to dive too deep. I do think it's important that, like, you know, that this helped kick off the Pride movement. This helped kick off the gay
I think it's
liberation
important to
movement.
know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is already movements for gay rights. It was just that this helped kick like the specific one that's really derivative of the one that's going on today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened is, I think when I was watching the documentary, I think my point is that when we talk about things like this, when we talk about pride and stuff like this, I feel like so often like the stories of actual people gets lost. And so even if we're talking
That's
about,
what I was trying to get to.
even if we're talking
we should
about,
talk about the people who are a part of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When we're talking about like icons and stuff, like we're like, this is the person, it's like, even like, this is Harriet Tubman of like, you know, the thing. And it's like cool, but like this person also had like a life. And like, that's what I think I said last week, I think before the show, is that like, I didn't want to talk about it because like the person had like such a full life, you know? And like, even when like, you're talking about her and Sylvia Rivera. Like Sylvia Rivera has this speech.
They were friends.
Sylvia Rivera has this speech like at like this event, right? It's like this it's supposed to be a gay liberation event, but it's mostly just like white gay people, you know, having an event for their issues. And Sylvia Rivera kind of like crashes the party. And like, here's this like trans person up on stage, like saying like, I've been trying to get up on this stage.
For your gay brothers and your gay sisters in jail that write me every motherfucking week and ask for your help. And you all don't do a goddamn thing for them.
Because like, she basically goes on and says that like, you know, you don't care about us, you don't care, you like, you'll pass us by on the street, you'll watch us get kicked out and thrown out.
I have had my nose broken. I have been thrown in jail. I have lost my job. I have lost my apartment for gay liberation. And you all treat me this way? What the fuck's wrong with you all? Think about that.
And that to me was like super revolutionary. Like, she's in such a more privileged time for the people she's speaking to, and like she just says it anyways, and she goes like full blast because like what does she have to lose for that? Like, she doesn't have a play, you know what I mean? Like, and so it was just like kind of like a cool thing that I saw, because I was like, wow, here's this person, they're using their words as like fire in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you know how I say like you bring like a flamethrower to like the conversations? Like, that's what she did. Like, she just like torched like this whole
something for all of us, and not men and women that belong to a white middle class, white club. And that's what you all belong to. Revolution now.
And like, I feel like a lot of the same things she was talking about is a lot of the same things is a lot of the ways how people treat trans people now, you know? Like the death toll of trans people is just like so disproportional, because like people just like will murder a trans person, murder a black trans person, and then like nobody says anything about it. Like, nobody's looking for the killer. That's how, you know, if we were even going to become close to wrapping anything up, that's how Marsha P. Johnson died. Like, somebody murdered her and they left her in the river, and nobody found her killer. That's it.
No one even cared. And that's
nobody cared enough to find her killer too. And her friend,
this woman who
go ahead.
was so, I was just going to say, this woman who did so much and who cared so much and had so much life. And like, I just don't get it. It's always the same narrative of these wonderful people being murdered and no one caring because they don't fit a narrative. You know, they don't fit the white perfect narrative, you know.
Right.
And part of it was racism, you know. Part of it was like, a lot of it was transphobia because but part of it was racism, you know, and it's just fucked up. It's really fucked up, and it upsets me because, like, I was going to say, these women are part of some of my feminist icons because they're women.
Yeah,
they were women who fought for what they wanted. They were resilient and they were strong, and that's what I was saying before. You know, you idolize these people, but you got to remember they were people.
Yeah, I think it's really important that, like, if because I don't think I can truly do justice to somebody's whole life in like 15 minutes. And that's kind of the point of this show, is that we wouldn't do things like that, you know?
Yeah.
But even though that's not my aim, I do want to say that, like, if you need to go learn more, or you're just curious, you should do that. Like, I don't even have like all the sources I use, and maybe that's super unprofessional of me, but like, you should learn. You should just know.
That's
you should just go. Yeah, you should.
Like,
I understand what you're saying. You should just really go find out.
Yourself.
Yeah, you should go find it out, because you should. This is something that I think it's bigger than just like Stonewall. I think you have, and I try to say that respectfully, but I mean, what I mean by is bigger than just Stonewall is that, like, you have to understand that you can't look at something. It's just the same thing I was talking about like white guilt earlier. It's like, it's more than just the event itself. It's about people, you know, like Stonewall doesn't mean shit if it's empty. You know what I mean? Like, the Stonewall Inn doesn't mean anything. And Stonewall isn't a wall, by the way. It's an actual, like, it's a bar. It's a bar. That's what it's like, you know? And so that was the point. Like, they raided a gay bar because people was just having a good time and being gay. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the other messed up part, is that it's a gay bar. Like, it's literally not like, it's like
nothing to do with you.
There's nothing. It's
they
like,
weren't
if
in
you
your way. They just
it's like
existed.
Literally, if you could put gay people in a box and leave them like to their own devices, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And so, like, for you to come in with your straight nonsense and go beat people up because you just happen to know what box they was in, like, that's really messed up. And then, you know what the worst part is like, you took them out the bar just so you could put them in a cell block where they're all still together. Like, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like moving them around to different boxes, and it's just stupid. You're just doing a whole lot for no reason. Anyways, my little milk and toast comment there is just what I mean by saying all that and just like rambling on. It's just that if you're going to learn about Stonewall, like, take a page and take a lesson from my journey about the whole thing, is that, like, if you're going to learn about Stonewall, you should learn about the people that were involved in it. And that way you could, like, get a deeper understanding of, like, you know, what it is you're trying to learn about, and what is the reason we learn history in the first place, if we're not going to just learn about, you know, the people and the people that had to go through these events, and, like, and to learn, like, how that affects the people that live now. You know what I mean? We can't just, like, learn these things as, like, factoids that we use against each other in, like, Facebook and Twitter arguments. Like, this has to be, like, about people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about Marsha P. Johnson. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about how she was a bad singer, and she, you know, she gave it her all and all this and that, because she's a full person. She was a full person. And, like, that's important. You know, she was important, and she changed a lot of people's lives, and she helped a lot of people, you know, not just for throwing, like, a brick through a wall or not throwing a brick through a wall.
She gave people homes.
She gave people homes. She was a friend. She was she was out in front of, like, these marches and these pride parades and things like that. You know, she helped give people hope, and, like, actual, like, physical hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
she wasn't afraid to fight for what she wanted, and I think that's. Yeah. I think we all need a little Marsha in us.
Yeah.
We do.
That's a good place.
That's some confidence right there. You know, to sing like that. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say that was a good place to end. You had that was really great.
I kept talking, and you're like, eh.
But no, I wanted you to keep going, because if you have more, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just like, I was just reminiscing. I was remembering her.
Yeah.
I was giving her a moment.
No, if anybody deserved a moment, that was her. You know, so.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's wrap the show up.
Okay.
Let's do that. Do you have anything you want to say to the people, Claire?
No, just be yourselves. You know, find that piece of Marsha that's deep down inside you and pull it out and use it, because she had everything in the world to fear, and yet she feared nothing. And I think we should take that on, because of how much people miss out on, because of fear or conformism or whatever. And even when it's like a genuine fear, like, police brutality or actual like life-threatening shit, you are deserving of a place here, and you're deserving to fight for that place here, and you're deserving to have happiness in that place here. Don't let them take that from you. Don't let them control you. And that goes on to what I was going to say about like body image and stuff. Don't let them control you. Don't let that be something that has such power over you. I regret that with every ounce of my being. Not because my body's fucked because of it. Like, that's not great. But I regret that I was so miserable. I missed out on so much because of that, So don't let that happen to you. And if it has happened to you, don't let that define you now. Everybody needs to take care of their mental health. I hope you all are, even if it's as simple as like self-care. And something I wanted to just quickly say, because I forgot about this completely at the start of the pod, but self-care isn't buying those extra shoes or eating that piece of chocolate cake or whatever. Like, it can be classified as self-care, but self-care to me is actually taking care of your body. Doing like a full exfoliant scrub on your skin, or if you haven't brushed your teeth, brush your teeth, or if you haven't like brushed your hair, brush your hair, or add that like extra deep condition to your hair. You know what I mean? Like, do something that takes care of your body and makes you feel good. And yeah, it makes you look good, but like, that's not the important part. It's literally self-caring and making sure your body is happy and healthy so that your mind can catch up. So when your mind catches up, it doesn't have anything to worry about,
Sometimes looking good does make you feel good, though. Like, sometimes
I think that's true, and I think that's okay.
Like, that's why they say look good, feel good. I believe that, because like sometimes
I just didn't want to put too much onto that, because I
well,
understand.
no, don't look good for other people. Look good for yourself. You know what you like when you look at yourself. You know what I mean? So like, sometimes getting back to that, and sometimes getting back to that can be daunting. So I get that. But at the same time,
steps.
Sometimes, taking a shower, doing your hair, you know what I mean? Like, simple things like that, I agree with, just to get yourself back to where you need to be.
It's always better to go halfway than no way.
Yes,
I think, sometimes you look at yourself and you need to brush your hair, and you need to brush your teeth, and you need to have a shower, and you need to exfoliate, and you need to do all these things, and you just feel like you just can't, because you've let it build up so much because you've been so depressed. Brush your teeth. That's it. Done. And then you can go to bed being like, well, at least I brushed my teeth. And then the next morning, brush your hair. Can't brush your teeth, but you brushed your teeth last night, so that's not that bad. Brush your hair. Cool. Hair's brushed, teeth brushed. Slowly but surely, you start coming back to yourself. And it does feel better to have done something than nothing.
Chocolate is self-care, by the way. It is.
Okay, that's not, I wasn't meaning that it wasn't. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
I just don't want people to think chocolate is self-care, because
it's like a different layer.
It is a different layer. I think sometimes, just eating something nice to reward yourself, or not even reward yourself, just to feel some type of pleasure is good, because it reminds you you're human sometimes.
Yeah.
And because
you can enjoy things.
Yeah, if you can enjoy things and you can remind yourself that you're a person, then that's good, because we tend to want to take care of people. We tend to so if we can humanize ourselves sometimes, because sometimes the problem is that we don't humanize ourselves. You know what I mean? So if we can do that, sometimes you might want to take care of yourself a little better. And then you might want to brush your teeth after you ate all that good chocolate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. You have a very valid point. I just feel like self-care is a spectrum, like everything else.
No, it's true. You're right. It's baby steps.
Sometimes when you're at the very, very bottom, no one really pays attention to you. No one really understands. And people tell you to, have a bubble bath, do this, do that. And it doesn't make you feel better, and you can't be bothered. And you're not going to have that bubble bath because you can't be bothered getting out the bath salts and the bubble bath and filling the bath, or even cleaning the bath to fill the bath, sometimes, because I feel that when you're really bad. So I just think for those people who aren't even that good, Remember, there are layers to self-care. And brushing your teeth can be classified as self-care depending on where you're at, you know?
It is.
So anyway.
It is just self-care though, because that's you taking care of yourself. That's all self-care is. It's just you taking care of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Go on, Claire. Yeah.
So yeah, take care of your mental health, no matter how hard that might be. A lot of people believe you need like a professional to help you with your mental health, and that's not fully the truth, you know? Sometimes there are some things you can take. Okay, yeah. To dig deep, you need that extra help, but there are coping mechanisms you can take on until you can find yourself in the position to take that on. Because I just like to be very aware of the fact that because we live in a capitalistic society, not everyone's looked after. So there are ways to look after yourself, you know? So look after yourselves, do what you can. Reference episode 2 for any mental health tips you might need. And yeah, stay happy and healthy. And I love you guys. And thank you so much for listening. Everyone who listens all the time, you make us the happiest ever. So thank you. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I did want to say something similar is that like I do appreciate the people that do listen to this show. Like the views are never at 0. You know, the downloads and the
even if they're at 2.
Well, if they're at 2, that's a problem because I know that's
me
just
and you,
that's
baby.
just me. Yeah, that's me and you. But they're never at 2 either. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
There are people that listen to the show, and I am very appreciative, whether they're just Claire's aunt or my mom or Sarah or even people I don't know, Mitch's friends or my friends, you know.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative of all of you. You know I make fun of you guys a lot of the time out there. Everyone say like, you should share the show. And, you know, I do. And because you should share the show. But at the same time, I'm very appreciative of you just listening to my show in the first place. Of like, I was just thinking today earlier, I was like, I really pulled this shit off. You know what I mean? Like I did, like we did 10 episodes last week and I was like, I'm about to do 11. And I was like, wow, I actually did it. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I want to do it more and I want this thing to become bigger and I want, you know, us to expand and to go into other things. And, you know, like when I said that I want to do a dating show at Mitch, you know, that all that stuff is like me making the show, but making the show bigger and better and every day. And like just fun. I'm always thinking about what more we can do at the show. But I was just thinking about how like I never think of myself as having dreams. Like I have this weird thing where I just think about things that I want to do and then I either do them or I don't do them. Right. But I've never thought of it as like, if somebody said, well, what are your dreams or whatever? But like a dream is just like something you was like really thinking about for a really long time. And 5 years is a really long time to think about, you know, maybe I should have a show, maybe I should have a podcast. Right. And to think that like you could do it and you could pull it off. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about like, you know, wow, like this is a dream I had and like this is a real thing now. You know what I mean? And it's so weird, but at the same time, it's such a cool thing. And it's really weird that like people like listen to us, but to me, it's just like I'm very appreciative that anybody listens to this crap. You know what I mean? And you know, it's not really crap. It's really good. Like it's a good show. Like I listened to our show. Like I listened to the last show, like the 10th episode. I listened to it twice, like because it was just a good show. Like I had a good time listening. You know what I mean? Not even to pad my numbers or any like corny shit like that. Like I just had a really good time listening to us. You know?
I struggle. I think it's because of my intense self-deprecation issues. But I'll listen to it and I'll be like, oh, I'm a trash human. Like I hate myself so much. I listen to it because I want to hear where I can get better. And like I'll say something and I'll be like, no, I should rectify that on a pod and apologize for that, or I should deal with that, or I should acknowledge that. You know, so I listen for things that I've said without thinking that I can sort of, I don't know, look back upon. I don't know. I don't mind it. There are some episodes I love though.
You know what's so weird about that though is that like when I do listen back, it's weird because I don't recognize my own voice sometimes. So like I kind of listen back in a way that like I kind of listen back and I'm like in a way that I'm not listening to myself. You know what I mean? So it was like really weird. And so like I was listening to the show with Sarah recently and I was like, you date a guy that sounds like that? Like I was like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing?
That's your boyfriend? Ew.
I was like, why? Yeah. She's like, I like your voice. I'm like, I was like, you need to find somebody else. You should be with somebody with a cool voice, man. But no, I mean, if you guys like it, I guess. Yeah. But I give it Claire saying, you know what I mean? What else was I going to say?
Yeah.
I guess I'll say if you like the show, you should share the show. I'll say it in the beginning and the end. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. You know, I don't do the wrap up, guys. Like if you notice, like I let them do the wrap up and then I just like, you know, self promote.
It's crazy.
I'm tired, you know, like I did the show and I'm tired. I got to edit the show now. It's a grueling thing.
You signed up for it, bro.
I love it though. You know what I mean?
No.
I really love this. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do, but I'd really be excited to talk to y'all. Like I love this shit. This is my this is my home. Like I knew like I'm like in my element, you know what I mean? I feel really good doing this. I don't have a whole lot to say. Again, we can kind of dedicate this show to Marsha P. Johnson because I think she's just I do think she's awesome. I enjoyed listening to everything and watching everything I had to watch about her. You know what I mean?
She's amazing. Yeah.
And it was just watching somebody's life and like being able to watch that and like learn about somebody in that way. It was really cool. So yeah, I have no problem dedicating the show to her. And I also want to say, because like what we were talking about, like this is like kind of like for us the last week of Pride. I mean, it's not, we're going to record actually on the last day of Pride, but like, you know, the show doesn't come out on the same day we record. So
no, it'll be July by the time.
Yeah, it'll be July. On. So like this was the last week or time. This is the last episode we could actually like do that. So I do want to say that I hope everybody had a great Pride. I hope everybody learned a lot during Pride. If not here, anywhere else, you know what I mean?
Educate yourselves. I think that's
please
so important.
Educate yourselves and educate
Google
yourselves.
is an amazing search engine. Just Google something and you'll go down a rabbit hole of information and you'll just have this information. You can go to parties and be like, I know this. And people will be like, eh.
And educate yourselves just because, you know, you care about people. If you care about people.
That too, but I was just going off the whole bit of like, even if it's something random, you can still educate yourself.
No, yeah, for real. Just like learning is cool.
Yeah.
We sound so
Stay
like
in school,
dorks.
kids.
Stay in school, kids. Learning is cool. Oh my God. Oh yeah. This is the last thing I want to say. She's gonna hate me for this, but I wanted to say because this is the day before, but happy birthday, Sarah. I love you and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sarah.
So yeah, by the time this comes out, her birthday will have either passed or this will be on her birthday because
he doesn't spoil you. You hit me up, yeah.
Oh no, I got some good things lined up.
He's no,
I know, no. I'm so excited. But yeah, say bye to the people, Claire.
Bye, people. I feel like I'm gonna learn what Sarah's getting just after the pod.
Oh yeah, you're about to. I'm about to tell you. I'm so happy. I'm definitely gonna tell you.
He went into best friend mode instead of podcast mode. He's like, "Oh, girl, I have to tell you." Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah, my name is Logan, and I am your host. And wait, how do I do this? I totally forgot my outro. My name's Logan, and this has been the Milk and Toast podcast. And we're out.
We out.
Bye.
Bye. God. God for her.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Milk and
the Queen of the Island and the Saint of Christopher Street, Miss Marsha P.
Wonderful things about me who have made me a star for the last 14 years in New York City and on the beaches, off and on between breakdowns. And I'd like to sing this song for all of you called Love. Maestro, please.